Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. How you all doing? We have Manchester United latest updates with an injury boost, Ten Hag's comments on Antony and Carabao Cup preview, squad rotation. Ten Hag has done a interview as well, pre-match press conference for the Carabao Cup that we are playing tomorrow. So, a couple other side news as well that we're going to get into at the end of the show. Do me a favor, smash the like button if you can in the beginning, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Turn on notifications if you don't got those, so you know when we go live. We have the Red Devil recaps that we do after every live match. We do everything live, so we're glad to have you here if you join us, and we welcome your input. Shout out to my guys in the chat, Daniel and Richard. Thank you for being here. So let's get straight into it, and then we'll get to the chat a little bit later after we get through the news. So Erik Ten Hag was there speaking. Axe Lord is here with us as well. Good to have you here, Axe. So Erik Ten Hag was speaking, and he provided us an update on injuries. The number one person that we're going to do is Erik Ten Hag. So Erik Ten Hag has said on Luke Shaw that he's progressing. He's not ready to be selected when he is progressing well, but he is progressing well. Of course, we have a plan in our head when he can be ready, but you're always dependent on how the progress will go. You can't make a suggestion because there are so many factors. A plan can accelerate or slow down. So obviously this doesn't go into the injury boost part, but slightly because he is making progress. He should be back soon, hopefully, rather than later. We can use him because we don't have a left back at the moment. So it is what it is. And then we also got updates on Lindelof, Rasmus, and Mason Mount. Ten Hag saying that Lindelof, Mount, and Rasmus Højlund, he was asked if they could feature tomorrow night, and he said that they are not ready for tomorrow. We will see. Our progress will continue. So the clock still ticking on these guys. We didn't get, maybe a more in-depth update. Ten Hag usually like this with the updates. He doesn't really provide timelines unless he's probably sure. So it's just still a little bit iffy on Lindelof, Mount, and Højlund. Now, we did just get a Mount update that I'm going to get into in the next slide here, which is a little bit more encouraging, and will probably provide a little bit better of an update in time. But question mark still over Lindelof, still over Højlund, which I'm saddened about because more so for Rasmus Højlund, because I want to see Rasmus Højlund back. He's missing. This is going to be his 5th match so far of the season, and he just needs to get back. We need to see him playing. He provides another option for us up front, a different in quality and in terms of ability, and and we just need it. So, and I'd like to see him back because I like Rasmus Højlund. I think, and I'm excited to see what he does in his 2nd season. So, the faster he's back, the better, 100%. So, the Mason Mount update that we got just came out not too long ago, so we're gonna follow up with that. And it's being reported that Mason Mount has returned to first team training, and could return from the sidelines sooner than expected. So that's a positive update there for Mason Mount there, and we need to get him back. And hopefully, when he comes back, he stays fit. I think he was doing pretty well. Before he got injured, he was showing energy in that midfield. He was initiating the press well with Bruno Fernandes. I think he was providing us a good, different, optic in terms of, how we could line up and just the tactical as well. And, I kind of feel bad for the guy. He needs to stop getting injured. That's the thing. We need to try and keep him as healthy as possible. It's been a real problem since he's come to the club. And hopefully, we could figure out how to keep him, not, how to keep him injury free, because he does provide a good aspect to the team. He does provide something different. Like Richard's pointing out, the energy that he provides is good for the team. It provides a different dynamic to the squad when we line up. So we do need him back, and hopefully he does stay fit as well. We then also got updates on Mazraoui, Mateus Ligt, and Lisandro Martinez, because I know there was a scare. I was certainly worried at the end of the match against Southampton, because we did have to sub out Maz, Ligt, and Lisandro. And Ten Hag said that they are all available and they are all good. It was just some minor cramps, nothing too serious, so that's good news as well. Happy that they're all available, they're all fit. And we're gonna get into. I did do a my lineup that I would go with, and I think that none of them should start. The fact that they had some certain cramps, maybe we give them some minutes just for the fitness wise, but there's no need to risk it. We're playing Barnsley. There's other players in the squad that they also need minutes. They also need some fitness, match sharpness. So I think to avoid overworking them and overloading them, because we have a lot of matches coming up in the next few weeks. 3 times a week we're playing, so I don't think you need to overload them, especially not in a match like this. We should be beating Barnsley. I mean, our under 21s team beat Barnsley a few weeks back, 3-2. So there's no need to force these players to play. And then the next slide, which came kind of a little shockingly, almost Sancho-esque, if you would say. Antony was mentioned or asked about in the press conference, and Ten Hag had some choice words, which might come across as shocking or a little bit interesting, a little bit harsh maybe, depending on how you're viewing it. But he did have this to say. So Ten Hag on Antony with just one appearance so far, and Ten Hag followed up by saying, "We have training every day, and the players have to earn the right to play," which I agree with. He then went on to say, "When players are doing the right things in training, when the attitude is good and they show performance in training, then they will earn the right to play." And I thought these comments were a little bit interesting. Choice of words here, that he said that when the players are doing the right things, when the attitude is good and they show performance in training, then they will earn the right to play. And I think these comments might be slightly problematic in terms of public perception and media perception. I think the media are going to latch onto this if they haven't already. Especially, it depends if he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow. So I think they were a little bit on the tougher side than he normally is. I mean, if you compare it to Marcus Rashford, he's always backing Marcus Rashford. He's always very, very positive. These were kind of the opposite in terms of what he said about Antony, and I think it is a good indication of what is kind of going on, because Antony is not featuring. Antony has he's gone to the bottom of the pecking order in terms of playing, in terms of being picked, and this was not the case in the beginning of last season. So, I think it's a culmination of things, but it also does give you an insight into how Ten Hag does go through the process of when he is picking players. I mean, if you compare it to Marcus Rashford, maybe Marcus Rashford trains well. Maybe it's not translating on the pitch, but maybe that's why he keeps giving him opportunities. Maybe that's why he gives certain opportunities to players when we are frustrated by their match performance. Maybe because they are showing up to training, they're doing the right things. Maybe they have a good attitude, and they're putting in a good performance in training, but it's just not translating to the pitch. So he does believe it's only a matter of time before it does translate to the pitch. But some of the problem with that is sometimes players train well and they don't perform well in matches. Others don't train necessarily well, but they perform much better in matches. And I think Erik ten Hag obviously is looking for consistency there, in terms of the fact that he wants players to be performing well in training first before you get the opportunity to play. And maybe that's why certain players, such as like a Harry Amos, is not getting included in the squad right now, even though there are arguments for that. And I think it's a little bit interesting. I will say though, I think that in terms of Antony, I think he will get his chance. I think it's only a matter of time. Maybe at the same time, maybe Ten Hag is protecting him a little bit in terms of letting him do his work in the background, and just making him wait for an opportunity to take the opportunity, and really just fire it up and give it a go when he does get the chance to do it. But again, right now for me, our two best wingers are Amad Diallo and Anthony Garnacho. I was gonna say Alejandro Garnacho. Excuse me. Alejandro Garnacho. Marcus Rashford's third, and Anthony is fourth. But I do respect Anthony's mentality in terms of the fact that while he has come out in the past and said many things in terms of just coming out and speaking and saying that he will fight for his place and all that, something probably similar to what Harry Maguire does or has done in the past when his spot was taken away, the captaincy was taken away, it looked like he was going to be out. I think it's just the pure comparison. You compare it to Sancho. You're not gonna see Anthony come out and put out a tweet about how Ten Hag is lying, or that he's pissed off that Ten Hag made those comments. Now, rightfully, I'm sure Anthony's not going to be happy about the comments. If I was a player and the manager saying this, and you care about yourself and how things are going at the club and how you're performing, you're obviously not going to be happy. But there's a way to handle this, and I keep saying this, and I think many of you agree, and I think many people in the fan base agree that you do your talking on the pitch. We don't want to see players coming out making stupid comments or social media posts, starting a war against the manager, whether it's true or not, whether they like it or not. That's not the way to handle it. The way to handle it is you take the criticism and you say, whether you think it's true or not, if you think it's bullshit, you say that's a load of bullshit and I'm going to show him wrong. I'm going to show him wrong. I'm going to prove him wrong. I'm good enough. I'm putting in the work. I'm working hard, and when he gives me the opportunity, I'm going to show him that I deserve more chances. And I think that's where we're at right now. I mean, he is barely playing. He was going to get a few minutes at the end of the Southampton match, but because we had the injury problems at the back, he ended up not coming in because we had to put in Johnny Evans. We had to put in Maguire. We had to shift around the defense. So it was unfortunate for him in that aspect. But I think this match upcoming against Barnsley tomorrow, I think, is a perfect opportunity. And, he has to go, and if he does start or he does get a good amount of minutes, he's going to have to take that opportunity by the horns. And just take his opportunity and do what he has to do. He's gonna have to perform. Listen, we're playing Barnsley. They're not an elite team. If Anthony goes on and he can't have a good performance against Barnsley, it's only gonna justify Ten Hag's comments, and the rest of our perception that he's not performing well, he's not doing good enough, and he should be at the bottom of the pecking order currently. So, I think it's an interesting thing to watch. We're gonna see there. There is a lot of talk about Anthony. This is probably his final season. A lot of people want him sold. A lot of people have given up on him. But you never know. A player can turn it around at any moment. They can catch fire. They can make you think twice. So let's see what happens with Anthony here. And yeah. Ten Hag had some more comments. So he was asked on rotation for Barnsley, which leads into kind of what we were speaking about here. And he said, absolutely, very important. I think I have headaches, which I would say he does have headaches as well. I have many players available, and we can make a selection from game to game. Definitely, we have to rotate because we have to cover so many games. It's a nice headache. And I do agree with that. I believe it is a nice headache. It's not a bad headache. It's a nice headache. A bad headache would be we have 15 injuries. We're struggling to put a team together. We don't know what the hell we're going to do or how we're going to line up. I think right now there is certain aspects that we do have a nice headache in terms of there's many different options he could go with this game, this match. He can play a similar lineup to the lineup that played against Southampton. He can go for the backups and give them minutes and have them play as well. So I think it is good. It's good when you have an abundance of players. It just allows a lot more decisions, setups, and stuff like that. So you want to have as many players available as possible. It is a nice headache to have. So I do agree. But the rotation obviously is important. It's going to be important for this season. It's important every season, but especially this season because coming off of the injury crisis we had last season, um, we're going to have to rotate. We have many matches, and, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for players to play and fight their way into a starting position. There's many aspects in terms of, you could go with Ugarte. Ugarte needs integration. He needs to get used to playing with the team. He probably also needs some fitness. Even Ligt in terms of, because he didn't have a preseason, he probably still needs some fitness, but he had the injury scare. So there's different optics and aspects to looking into which players should play and which shouldn't. Obviously the concerns that I spoke about before with Mazraoui, Lisandro, and Delit all being subbed off. You don't want to push them too hard. It's really early in the season. There's a lot of matches coming up, and they're gonna have to play the more important matches, and we're gonna need them there. So, you know, I think we have to be smart about the decisions that we're gonna make and what players we're gonna play and how many minutes we're gonna give them. Um, Ten Hag also spoke on the importance of trophies, saying it's about winning trophies. But I don't talk only about this. You guys are talking about we have to win. To win leagues. We are in 5 leagues and we want to win them. No doubt we are aiming for a trophy and we take it seriously. And these comments come off the back of, there's the talk about the importance of the Carabao Cup, because it is seen in the eyes of the fans. Obviously, the lowest trophy you could possibly win. It's not the most significant in terms of, determining how great you are of a club. Obviously, it's the Premier League and the Champions League are the number two. Then it would be Europa League, FA Cup, and then Carabao Cup. Um, and Ten Hag always talks about trophies. He always talks about the importance of winning trophies, not just this time, but he's done it since he's gotten here. And trophies are very very important, and you want to win as many as them as possible, no matter the significance. I think winning the Carabao Cup is important. Winning the FA Cup is important, and every competition you're in, you want to try and win all the trophies. It's definitely a conversation that's had in football right now, especially when you put the optics of, well, you look at a team like Arsenal who perform very very well in the competitions, but they don't end up with a trophy. And then you look at us basically last season where we did finish eighth, but we did finish the season with the FA Cup. So I mean, you know, it it is important, but you want to try and have an all around just very good finish. You want to finish in a good in a good position in the league, but you also want to have the trophies. And at the end of the day, my mentality always goes to the fact of, this is elite sport, and the purpose of elite sport is to win trophies. That is the pinnacle of any sport. American football, football in general, any sport, tennis, baseball, whatever it is. The objective is to to win the trophies. Whatever trophies are there available, you win those trophies. So, um, I want the Carabao Cup. I want the FA Cup. Those are two that we can definitely go for. And I want the Europa League, and I want a good finish in the league. I want a top four finish. That's definitely what I'm aiming for here. And I think that's what Ten Hag is trying to say. And I like how he calls it 5 leagues. Because they are leagues. They are trophies. At the end of the day, you do win these trophies. So, and he did also speak on the importance of the Carabao Cup, saying he wouldn't say it's insignificant, like many fans out there do. He says, I see the attention from all the teams, owners, managers when they win trophies like Liverpool did last year. I see all the teams battling for it. We want the same. In football, winning trophies is very important. And I just kind of alluded to that. Like, it is very important to win trophies. It is the main purpose of playing this sport and competing at the highest level, is to win these trophies. And I know the banter of, this is a Mickey Mouse Cup, but at the end of the day, if you finish the season again with the Carabao and the FA Cup and you finish in top four, it's a very good season. If you're not a Manchester City who's supposed to be winning the Premier League and the Champions League. Um, based on your position, you need to win as many trophies as possible. I think even for a team like Arsenal, if they challenge for the Premier League, they don't win it, but they come in second, but they win a Carabao and an FA Cup in the same season. I think they would have more credibility in their bank. So I would like obviously we have to take these matches seriously, but at the same time, based on the opponent that we're facing at the time, we can make squad adjustments. As we need. We're not playing a top tier team right now. We are playing Barnsley, so I think we can play more of the backups and give them more minutes. Um, in other news, though, and I will get to the chat as soon as I'm done with this. I'm not ignoring you guys. Don't worry. Keep having your wonderful discussion, and get involved with anything I'm saying or on your opinions on anything else that you want to put in. Diallo, there is a little bit of talk of Diallo getting a new contract, which I am here for. I think the kid has been performing excellent this season, and I think he did perform good in the second half of last season when he came back from his injury. So Manchester United are expected to offer Amad Diallo a new long-term contract in the coming months, and I think that's very positive news. The follow-up on that coming from Samuel Luckhurst saying that if a renewal has not been agreed before the new year, so 2025, then Manchester United will trigger the extension, which we have a 1-year contract extension for him option until 2026 to prevent Ahmad's representatives from negotiating a pre-contract with an overseas club in the January transfer window. So again, the importance of the 1-year extension coming into play, very, very good. And I think we'll get it done. I'm looking forward to it. I think he does deserve it. He's come a long way. He's had to wait for his chances, wait for his opportunities. There was a moment where it didn't look like he was gonna make it at Manchester United. There was a moment where everybody was questioning what the hell did we buy this player for? Why did we spend this amount of money on him? And he's come a long way. He's even had to go on loan. He performed very, very well at Sunderland, and he's taken his opportunities ever since. And he's pushed his way all the way into starting in the starting 11 from Manchester United. So I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him, and I hope he continues to grow and progress the way he's growing and progressing. I like the way he plays. I like his style as a winger. And I think he can continue to develop into a very, very important and very good player for Manchester United. And let me get into what you guys are saying here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. There's Daniel, there's Axe, there's Richard, there's Rajat. There is our wonderful moderator, Grace, Simon, Jawashi, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm sorry. Yeah, in here too. So let me see where I can jump in. Richard started off by saying that he's slightly disappointed with today's press conference because I believe Biender in these early cups should be starting. I think he should be starting. I would start him. I don't see, anything wrong with starting Biender. If he's not going to get an opportunity in this match, when is he going to get an opportunity? And you could probably say that for a lot of the players as well. I mean, again, we're playing Barnsley. This isn't a top team. Our under 21s literally beat them not too long ago away from home as well. So I don't see major concern for starting a lot of the backup players, and I'm gonna get into that because I did do my own lineup, and I'm gonna tell you who I would pick and who I think should play, and I don't think it's who Ten Hag's necessarily gonna go with, but um yeah, we'll see. Um, Squad game nowadays, it's a long season. Rajat saying if Antony don't play, he's 60% probably done. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if he can't get an opportunity tomorrow, it's looking very, very bad for him. For sure. Stevenage Borough beat Barnsley 3-0 on Saturday, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I would like to see a little bit more of the youth being involved, and some of our backups, because I think they deserve an opportunity to play, and I think it's the proper squad rotation as well. I do. Rajat saying, will Luke Shaw dress up in a skirt and get to perform as Man United's cheerleader? Uh, I know it's a joke. It's all right. We're allowed jokes are allowed here. Don't worry about it. Um, shouldn't overdo it with changes. Still need to win the game. It's a valid point, Simon. It's a valid point. If you do make too many changes, sometimes it does have a backfire in terms of just the way the squad goes out and plays, because many of the players are not used to there's not a consistency in or a routine in them playing together, so sometimes it becomes a little dysfunctional. So that is something to actually keep in mind as well, and that's a good point. And thank you for that, because that wasn't something that I was thinking about. So Rajat saying he thinks that the Ligt off the bench if he needs to come in. I agree with that. I'm gonna expand on that in a little bit. Gray saying Bender in goal, Onana in midfield for Barnsley. Game over. Yeah, Onana, but we need the one that's at Austin Villa, not our goalkeeper. Although he is very good with his feet, so maybe he would be able to play in midfield. But no, definitely we don't want to see Onana in midfield. Bender in goal though, for sure. I would agree with that. Get the game won first, then make subs. Simon is saying, yeah, that's another way you could approach it as well, and I'm not totally against that. The problem is though is sometimes we do go into matches, and I remember one match or two, a couple matches last season where we do go into the match. You're hoping, all right, he's gone strong, and you're hoping that the first team can get it done. Score a quick 2-3 goals, basically end the match, so that when we go into the second half, we can put on, some of the younger players and give them a good amount of minutes. And then what happens is we go into the match, we struggle to get goals or perform well, and and then it leads to changes not really being made, because it's like the first team is struggling, and you're gonna put in players that are not competing really for the first team spots yet. So I don't know. I don't know if that would work in the way we want it to, but it definitely is something that you can consider, for sure. Rashad asking if Phil's going to play. Phil who? Jones? Um, Richard saying the only thing I'm going to say is winning the League Cup or even the FA Cup and coming fifth won't cut it. No, we need to be in Champions League. I think that's probably the main priority and the main goal that Ineos has set for Erik ten Hag and for the club this season, is that Manchester United must be back in the Champions League for next season. So how he does it, whether it's winning the Europa League, or finishing in the top four, for sure, he has to get it. We have to be in the Champions League. There's no way that if he doesn't get in Champions League, regardless of what he does, everywhere else, I think it won't be accepted. It won't be accepted, and he'll probably get sacked on that basis, I believe. Grace criticizing, saying Mickey is a good mouse. It's just rats you need to watch out for. Yeah, Mickey is a good mouse. Was part of my childhood growing up. Rajat saying Alman needs to take on more like the opponents faced him defenders, though he has been playing well. And actually, I agree with you, Rajat, very much on that point. The one thing that I would say about Amad Diallo that frustrates me a little bit, and we've seen it last match, is there was many times where he's gotten the ball, and instead of trying to take on the opponent, he would just turn around and pass it backwards. And I think he has the ability to take these players on, and I think it's actually part of his game. I don't know if that's a tactical thing, and they're being instructed to not really do that. But if they're not, I would like him to be a little bit more confident, because when he does get into that flow and he does get into that confidence, he is very good at being direct, putting pressure on the defenders, and just either getting to the byline or getting into the opponent's box and just putting pressure on them and making them nervous. And I would like to see him do it more. I think he could do it more. I do. I think he has the ability to do it. So, and the same would probably go for all our wingers. I mean, even Antony, if he does get the opportunity, I think Antony needs to do that as well. I think Antony plays very scared at times. Um, even somebody like Marcus Rashford at certain times as well. Obviously he's been lacking a little bit of confidence, but hopefully he's boosted by the goal he scored. And the only one that doesn't seem to lack that confidence or the idea of doing so is Alejandro Garnacho, who pretty much does it every single game without ask or questioning. He just comes on and he plays the way he plays, and it's very direct and very attacking, positive. So probably I think Garnacho is probably the best out of all of them right now, and I would like to see them all be a little bit more like Garnacho, in my opinion. I think Diallo is a very close second behind, but he could just turn it up a little bit more, for sure. Uh, Axe saying we need top four at least, but winning a trophy, bus boosts confidence in the team and wins time for the manager, instilling hope that the play style will improve so that they will win more important trophies. And yeah, I mean, you do win these trophies. I mean, the Carabao Cup, you do win it somewhere, in the middle of the season, kinda. So it is a booster, and it does bide him a little bit more time if things aren't going too well in the league per se, or maybe the Europa League. So it is important as well, and I think that's why he talks up the importance of these trophies. And it does boost the confidence of the squad. They do tend to believe, we have won a trophy. We can do this, and we can continue to win matches and stuff like that. And that's why these trophies are important. I mean, trophies are definitely important, no matter the ranking of the trophies. They are important. And you do want to win as many as you possibly can. Richard saying Ahmad has been very patient and has started to show what he may become. I think he deserves it. 100%. And I think, again, if you look at it in a certain aspect, because I think there was some comparisons between Diallo and Sancho. Obviously, Sancho getting in the news for his performance, his first performance for Chelsea, getting an assist. And, you just look at the optics of the fact that we spent so much money on Jadon Sancho for him to, be the player that he ended up being for us. And then we had a person like Amad Diallo, who really did take a long time to get to where he is now. And again, how I already mentioned that there was times where it looked like he wasn't going to make it. And it looked like, what was the reason for buying this player? And to see, in my opinion, I think Amad Diallo is already better than basically what Sancho's done for us his whole time in Manchester United. I think he's looking like a way better player. He's definitely performing way better for us. Maybe the statistics aren't there necessarily yet, but obviously he has a lot more opportunities coming his way. And I just think the mentality difference is very, very striking. I mean, you know, the kid's never given up. He plays fearless, and the way he plays direct attacking. I think when you say who is the actual Manchester United player, Amad Diallo is the Manchester United player. I think Amad Diallo is the player that has the Manchester United mentality, and I think he has the Manchester United ability as well compared to Jadon Sancho. So, sometimes it's better when you do get these sort of younger unknown players compared to the finished product, which is what I've been saying that I want to see Manchester United do a little bit more, especially now under Ineos, and they are going in that direction. We do get linked to some lesser talked about players, some lesser known players, and very much so younger players as well. Now, so I think it's good. Um, Richard saying we all want to win trophies. But a trophy, unless it is the Europa League and he comes fifth, he's gone. And that's what I'm saying. Like we have to get into the Champions League. That is his main objective. Is probably one of the requirements set by Ineos. So you know, you need to get into the Champions League, and if you win those trophies, they're definitely cherries on tops and extra boosts and all that good stuff. So you know we want the best. We want the best. We want to perform the best. We need to win everything. And everything that we can. That's why we need to win every match. And you have to aim to win every match so that when you finish the season, you finish in a very very good position. Uh. Ray is in here. Shout out to Ray. Axe saying, oh, I skipped a comment. I skipped a couple comments. Yeah. Almo is in here. Almo, if we don't give Ahmad a new contract, it's a disgrace. He is a first team player now. Yeah, I would agree with you probably in that aspect. But they're gonna give it to him. It's already reported that they're working on it. And I think I'm 99% confident. It'll be figured out. And he'll get his contract. He does deserve it. To where he's worked to. Definitely, I think when you talk about when players deserve contracts. I think Ahmad. I think he deserves it from his performances, and this is something that we need to see more of from Manchester United going forward. And I think, already from Ineos's beginning, to going forward, from the difference and change that we've seen from last time, not last time under the previous regime. We used to hand contracts to players that never kicked the ball in a Manchester United kit, and they were being rewarded for the performances in other places, and I never agreed with it. And obviously it was a terrible approach, and it was the wrong approach, because we've seen many flops come and be at Manchester United over the past 11 years, and that's probably part of the reason as well. I think it feeds into it. I mean, again, and I don't want to really keep talking about this player, but he is the most recent example. Jadon Sancho, when he was given his contract signing for Manchester United, the ridiculous wage that we gave him, while he never done anything in a Manchester United shirt, I don't understand that mentality. You have to come to this club. This club is bigger than every club in the world. And it's a different pressure, it's a different monster, it's a different beast. Just because you play well in the Bundesliga doesn't mean you should be getting 350,000 a week, 300,000 a week at Manchester United before you even kick the ball. You come to Manchester United, you play in the shirt, you perform for Manchester United, you help the team succeed in as many areas as possible, and then you get rewarded by performance based bonuses and contracts and stuff like that, which is what Ineos is working on right now. So I think in that aspect we are heading on a good direction. Rajat saying he will never be Ten Hag out until it gets crazy devastating, like we're 10th or 12th place now time. Well, I get what you mean there, but I think for me, where I'm formulating my opinion now is that he does have to get us in the Champions League. I think if he doesn't get us in the Champions League, I think it's grounds for a sack. And if they do sack him, I'm not gonna be, totally like, I will understand it. I don't want him to get sacked. I obviously still support him right now. I think he can get the job done. And I think, he's going to need as much time as possible. I think he has a big job on his hands. It's not an easy job to do, especially, with all the things that have gone on at the club in recent times. But I think he can do it, and I do still back and support this manager because he's won us 2 trophies in 2 seasons, and I think not every manager is going to do that for you. There's a lot of managers out there that can't win trophies or don't win trophies, and I think the fact that he's won these trophies, I think, is important. And it shows that he can do it. He can get across the line. So we just need to figure out the other aspects of our club in terms of playing style and being clinical and playing quick, and playing confident, and just putting in good performances. That's we really need to figure that aspect out. But I think when it comes down to it, crunch time, I think he's shown that he could get across the line. He can perform in a knockout competitions and stuff like that. So we just need a little bit more. We just need a little bit more. Um, Almost saying we need to win a trophy, and I'll play a strong squad. We could get embarrassed. Yeah. I mean, you don't want that to happen either. That is true. But I don't think we should be getting embarrassed. Is the thing. Like I know Barnsley's gonna they're gonna play probably their best match they've ever played because it's Manchester United. It's a big opportunity. We are a big club, you know what I mean? And everybody that, especially these lower and these lower teams, like when they do play Manchester United, they do see it as a big opportunity, and they do tend to have probably their best performance, because they do want to show, their worth as well. So there is that aspect, but I just don't think that in terms of the quality, we shouldn't be getting embarrassed. We shouldn't. So, you know, uh, Rajat saying he'll take another Carabao and an FA Cup as long as we're getting top four, and that's what I'm saying here. Um, Almost saying yes, but a trophy is a trophy. I'll take League Cup or Europa League. And he says I don't care. I'll take the FA Cup again. 100%. I mean, trophies are trophies. That's it, and that's the main objective. We are here to win trophies and as many trophies as possible. So, if we could get them along the way, 100%. But then it comes into terms of optics of the manager, and if he's going to keep his job and how Ineos are looking at it. And I think, very very importantly, that he needs to get Champions League. I think that is his main objective of the season. Because again, I think if we finish, even if we get FA Cup and Carabao Cup, but we finish outside top four and we don't win the Europa League, um, then I think it's looking very very bad for him. In terms of if he would keep his job or not, I think that there would be. I think it would more likely be they would get rid of him. Unfortunately. Uh, Rajat asking if we can make another good run in the FA Cup. I think so. I think so. I think we usually tend to do good in the cup runs anyway. I know the Champions League was not good. But that's Europe, and it's on a different standard. And we made many mistakes in those leagues, and that pretty much summed up the rest of the season, last season, because it just continued really on from there, with the injuries piling on and stuff like that. But I believe so. I think Ten Hag takes these cups very seriously. I think we've seen it. He showed examples of that in the past two previous years with his lineups. He does tend to go very strong. I think he'll probably go strong again, tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be the lineup I'm putting out, but we will see. We will see. Almost saying I want to be back in Champions League, but we have to pull world class players without it. But he needs to get it this season, and Virgil, wait, VDV. Oh, VDV. He needs to leave Spurs. Oh, Van de Ven, and if he does, we should be all over that. He is an unbelievable defender. I will take him with Martinez and Ligt. Yeah, Van de Ven is a very, very, very good defender, and he's very, very fast. So, it it is a little bit. He's kind of in a special category in terms of center backs because a lot of them are traditionally not the fastest. And the fact that he is super super fast, but also he is very very good at defending. But I'm sure that Spurs would want a lot of money, and that's probably something that Ineos isn't going to necessarily look at unless somehow an opportunity um comes where he is available for a good price. Then maybe we could do that move. I would, if I had the ability to, I would take him. I don't know if I just don't think it's probably likely, likey. uh Sounded like a 4-year-old child there. It's probably not likey. Um, I watched this. Richard saying I watched this all during the 70s and 80s, being a cup team. I don't want that again. No, you don't. You don't want to be just a cup team. And that's what we kind of are right now. We need to be performing in all aspects. That is what Manchester United is. Every competition, you go as far as possible. If you win as much as possible and you perform the best as possible. And you do good in those aspects, like you do finish in the top four or win the league, you do go to the semifinal or the final of both the cups and the Champions League or the Europa League, whatever you're in at that time. um Two straight seasons without UCL is a major crime. I mean, it's unacceptable for us in terms of Manchester United, but also it's very bad for financials as well. So we can't really afford it in any type of way. Um, that's why it is very, very important in all around aspects. Whether you look at it, just in terms of Manchester United being good, or in terms of the financial aspects, it's very, very important, and we need to be in there. And as Olmo stated before, it does help with pulling certain players as well, and improving the squad, because there are certain players out there that while they might want to play for Manchester United, they might choose another club over us solely for the fact that that club is in Champions League and we are not. Um, so it is important in that aspect as well. Gray saying, I think we need one more window of 4 to 5 players, then the next window after we go big on 1 or 2 players for the final pieces. Yeah, I think we do need something like that, Grace. For sure, I agree. And I did say that in a couple of our previous shows. We're kind of in part one, maybe 1.5 of what I would still coin as Ranick's open heart surgery. I think we did good this summer window to get in the 4 or 5 players that we did, and I think we need another window similar to this window of another 4 or 5 players, with the good profiles that we got in this summer. I mean, I like all the profiles of the players that we bring in. I think we need another window just like that, and that should be 2 seasons in. The squad should be looking very gelled by that time. The identity should be very in place. We should be performing much better at that time, and then once we're pretty much there pushing and being competitive at the highest level, we might need 1 or 2 players, big players, or big performers for the final pieces, and you get those in. Again, fit the profile though. They can't be too old. They have to have a good injury record, and they need to be just have good ability, and that can definitely push the team to the next level. um but you get those at the end. You don't need those now when we're still trying to build, because it might disrupt the process of building the squad. And then, like we've done in the past, where we go for these big name players on big money and big signings, uh, either it falls apart, or by the time we get to a spot where we need to really challenge, we've kind of financially screwed ourselves or whatever. The whole thing falls apart, and then it's basically useless that we have them because they're not there. Um, Rajat asking everybody to give me a lot more likes on the video. Yes, guys, if you can, please smash the like button. I'd greatly appreciate it if you haven't done already. Helps us out. So take 2 seconds of your time and smash the like button if you're enjoying the content. And we're glad to have everybody here that's getting involved. So thank you guys. Um, Richard wants Carlton Palmer. Gray says we need Alexis Sanchez. We do not need Alexis Sanchez. Stop bantering me because of the kid. We don't need Alexis Sanchez. If we need a high quality piano player and high quality dog walker, then get Alexis Sanchez 100%. But other than that, we don't need Alexis Sanchez or any of the past flops that we got. Richard agreeing though, saying let's bid 100 million for him. Oh boy, I don't know. I don't like where this is going. Sancho's getting red cards in the chat. Yeah. Axe saying if the playing style improves constantly, and they miss UCL by a few points and they win a cup, I would give them another season. Yeah, I think you would be in the minority there, Axe. Though, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I just think that I think you would end up probably being in the minority in terms of the rest of the fan base. Obviously, the media are gonna push for him to get sacked, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it really depends, when we get to the end of the season and how things played out, and what has happened. Because again, like, let's say we do that. Let's say we do what you said there, right? But we suffer another injury crisis. I might be a little bit more lenient because it would have a heavy impact on the squad. And then it would have a heavy impact in terms of our performances. So if we missed out on a few points, it would, an injury crisis would probably, that's where probably where we lost it. But let's see. 100% fourth place is going to be difficult. I've always said 5 years to compete. Now it is going to be difficult. It is a big ask, but that's our main challenge, and we're gonna have to fight for it. We're gonna have to do, as good as possible. And I'm just hoping that somehow, somewhere, we do kind of just catch fire. We do just hit form like we did in the first season on Ten Hag. I think it's been quite a while since we've seen that, like, consistent high quality performances, in a season. We haven't really seen it since the first season, and I'm just waiting for it to come. I hope it does, because um it just makes everything a little bit more exciting. It makes you feel better about the club. It makes you feel just a little bit more, confidence that we are going in the right direction. And right now there's a lot of, just worry that we don't know how things are actually going, because we are too far inconsistent. And you don't know what Manchester United team is going to show up in the next match. And I'm a little sick of it. I want to be able to have the confidence in Manchester United and say we're gonna win this match, we're gonna play good, and not worry about these things. So we need to get there. We need to get there, for sure. Tomorrow, please come on with the stream right after the end of the match, if possible. Of course, I will. I will. I was trying something else out last time. Um, I was experimenting a little bit just to see something. And it didn't go the way I thought it might have went. So I will be on. After the match is over. Close enough. It does take me a little bit of time to set up the stream, and the show. So obviously, it's not going to be like immediately, but within 30 minutes, or so, something like that, we will be live for the match recap. So Gray's saying if we lose tomorrow, I'm going into hiding for a month. Just warning, yeah, I agree. I might hide with you, Grace, if we lose. I'm going to move to Naples. Oh yeah, are you going to be staying with a Scottish fellow over there? I heard somebody's looking for a roommate. Um, Rich is saying if we lose tomorrow, I'm going to drink 40 Guinnesses, but then if we win, I'm going to drink 40 Guinnesses. Rich is drinking 40 Guinnesses either way, so which I agree. Uh, Good either way. Good either way. Find my buddy and gift him another bracelet like that, like the lady did. A truly united fan, able to spot brilliance at a glance. Axe saying avoid alcoholism. People keep it keep it to at most 2 to 3 beers per day for your health. Yes, Axe always providing us with the health updates, which is good. Thank you, Axe. We're Manchester United. Can we stop living off our name? I mean, I don't know. Um, we are Manchester United, though. We are. We are. We have to perform. We have to perform. We have to perform, Grace. That's why, because we are Manchester United. That's how I look at it. We are Manchester United. We are not a very good Manchester United at this moment, but we at the end of the day, we are Manchester United. We need to perform. We need to perform always. So we don't we deserve nothing. No, we only deserve the performance that we put in. Um, but that's why I say that is that we are Manchester United. We should be putting in excellent performances. We need to. Because that is the standard. And we have not been living up to that standard for quite some time, but we need to find our way back into that standard. So, but I agree with you on that, Grace. We deserve nothing. We don't deserve just to win the match because our name is Manchester United. We deserve to win the match because we put in a a a Manchester United, a prime Manchester United esque performances. And so we need to be doing that. We need to get back to that standard, 100%. And we should not forget that standard because we set that standard. And that is our standard. And while we are not hitting our own standard, we need to get back to that, and then we need to take that standard and probably raise it because it's been raised since the last time when we were at it. So, um, what right do we have to be in top four and win trophies? If we don't perform, no right. If we don't play good, if we don't get the results, we have no right. We have no right, and I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you there, Grace. But we need to be. We need to be top four, and we need to win trophies. And we need to be doing that by putting in the good performances. So, if we don't put in the good performances, we don't deserve that spot. The teams that perform better, the teams that get the results, they deserve it. Which is why we're not in Champions League. We didn't perform, last season, and while we did have an injury crisis, there was other teams they performed better than us, therefore they deserve those spots, and we deserve to be where we are right now based on how we are performing, which is why we need to increase the level of that. You have to earn the right to win, says Richard. Absolutely, 100%. You have to earn the right to win, and that's the mentality I want these players to have. They don't just get to win because they have the Manchester United kit on. They have to go out there and perform and earn the right to win. They have to earn that right, which is something that we haven't been doing for quite some time. Yeah, I had the kit. Yeah. Yeah, you forgot. Yeah, I bet you did, Grace. I bet you did forget. Um, what Grace saying? Washford has to step up 15 league goals minimum. That he's the experienced forward. We have no more excuses. I mean, there are a bunch of players that have to step up. Some of them are new, and they are in the position that they have to step up as well. Obviously, we give them a little bit more lenience compared to somebody like a Marcus Rashford. But absolutely, Grace. I mean, Marcus Rashford is one of those players. He's experienced. He's been at Manchester United his whole life. He knows exactly what Manchester United is supposed to be. And we need him to step up, and hopefully, from his last performance against Southampton, he can build and grow on that and come back into being what Marcus Rashford was 2 seasons ago, which was one of the best wingers in all of Europe. And was certainly our best player. If it wasn't one of our best players, he was certainly our best player that season. And we need that. We need that. We need everybody. Everybody has to step up. Everybody. No mistakes from Onana. The defenders have to do their job. The wingers have to do their job. The midfield has to do their job. Casemiro cannot be performing like he did against Liverpool. The whole team. The whole team. The whole team. Didn't Di Maria's house get burgled and was shit after that for us? I think it did get burgled. And then, I mean, he performed better where he went than what he did for us. But that was again just stupid signings. I mean, they literally signed a player that didn't want to come with us, and they signed him anyway, because he had no options. And thank God we're not doing that anymore, because we would just continue to destroy ourselves. Now is the first time in an opportunity that we actually have a real shot at a real rebuild. We every other rebuild before that was fake. It wasn't real. There was no structure to it. There was no substance to the plan. It was all PR from the club. It was always going to fail. I think now is the first opportunity we actually have to build something concrete and with a strong foundation, and something that we could all be happy with. Um, I have here. I did my lineup that I would go with, and I would put here. I would go with Biender. Diego Delo for me would play because I'm a little bit worried about Maz's fitness. If anything, you could sub Delo out later on, put in Maz, give him some minutes, a couple more minutes, but don't overwork him too much. I would put in Maguire and Evans, because it's Barnsley, and I think they should definitely be able to handle it. I would go for Harry Amos. I think this is a perfect opportunity for the kid to play some minutes, and get a senior a senior debut, or not a debut, but a senior start. Play with a lot of the first team, and see what he can do, and show what he can do. I would go with Antony because, again, I think if Antony can't get minutes in this match, I think if Antony can't perform against the Barnsley, if he can't put in a good performance, then I think all hope is lost for him. So, um, I think he should get some minutes, because Diallo, Garnacho, and Rashford, they're gonna play a lot. Um, but Garnacho obviously, hasn't been starting most of the matches. He's been coming on as a sub, and he's been getting, maybe 30 minutes here and there or so. So I would go with Garnacho for a start in this match as well. Give Rashford a little bit of a rest, and Diallo a little bit of a rest. I would get Ugarte in there for sure because I want Ugarte to start. Ugarte is to build up his fitness. He also has to integrate into the squad. Um, and just get used to playing the tactics, the formation, and get used to the players. So I'll go with that, and I would put Collier next to him because, again, young kid. I think it was a very hard ask for him to come into that Liverpool match. He didn't look up to the pace of it. He didn't look necessarily ready, but with the way we were performing, the rest of the team, it was always a big ask, and it was tough on him. And I think it would be a little bit harsh to solely criticize him, or make that decision solely based off of just that match. I think a match like this is perfect for Collier. It could help him, and give him some minutes, and just show us a little bit of what he's got to offer. So I would go with that, and I would put Christian Eriksen, behind Bruno. I mean, instead of Bruno. I think Bruno should be rested for this match. Bruno's going to play every single match, and is going to play 90 minutes for every single match. So I think against Barnsley, you could rest Bruno Fernandez. It's like one of the only matches that you could probably rest him, no problem. And I think Ericsson plays well in that position anyway, even though he's not going to get many opportunities to play there because it's going to be Bruno and Mount once Mount comes back, which Mount is probably going to come back soon. And and then Joshua Zirkzee because I think he needs more playing time. He probably needs a little bit more confidence. And then I would look to if we are winning the match by a good amount, I would sub out Zirkzee and probably put in Ethan Wheatley. So not trying to change too much, trying to keep a good core base of the experienced players, add a couple of the younger players, some players that need, a little bit more minutes, a little bit more fitness, they need game time, they need match sharpness. Yeah, I think I would if Ten Hag went with this lineup, I would be um pretty excited by this lineup. Because I want to see Amos, I want to see Collier, I want to see Ugarte. Um, Antony should get his opportunity. I'd like to see Garnacho. Xerxes is just a given because there's no other real striker. I mean, you could put in Wheatley up there, but I think then you're pushing it a little bit too much, in terms of the inexperience, and then just the whole squad chemistry together. So, yeah. But do I think we're gonna see this? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, now there's a conversation supposedly they're saying Biender is gonna start. Um, while I did see a couple other people saying that Onana is definitely starting, but I think Bienda should definitely be getting a chance just to play, just to give him something. I mean, like, if he's not going to play, when is he going to play? What did we really have him for? We might as well, at that point, just sign some old goalkeeper 34 and let this kid, go play somewhere else and get an opportunity, maybe start somewhere or something like that. So yeah, we need to give him some game time for sure. And maybe center back wise, he might go with Maguire and Evans. Uh, Delo probably. Amos, I think, is one that he probably isn't going to pick. I don't have that feeling. I don't think he's gonna go with it. Even though he should, because you're playing your two right backs a lot. A lot of minutes. There's no real subs for them. So I think he should do it. I just don't know if he is gonna do it. I think Ten Hag is gonna go with a similar kind of lineup to what we've seen against Southampton. It's just what he does. He usually does things like that. He usually does go very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is a very similar team. If it's not the same exact team that played against Southampton. I would I would not be surprised by that. I'm not going to be probably too happy about it, but I won't be surprised. I think Ten Hag is probably going to go fairly strong. I think he wants the win. I don't think he wants to take many chances. I think because he views the Carabao Cup as very important to him, to Manchester United, and to the season, and therefore he won't want to take too many chances in terms of, what happens if it goes wrong if he makes too many changes. So I will see that, but instead of Collier, Casemiro could be there, and maybe Ugarte is there, or maybe he puts in Casemiro and Collier or something like that. I don't know. I don't. I would want to see the youth, and I just don't think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna do something similar to what Olmo was saying, where he's not gonna make too many changes. Um, I believe it was Olmo or Rajad, one or the other. They He's gonna go very strong. And then if we're winning the match, um, 3 goals, something like that, then he'll probably put in the younger players and get them some minutes and some of the backup players. So, Grace wants to see my Greenwood kit. uh, no, we're not. We're gonna leave that retired where it is. It's hanging up on the wall with the name to the back, so you can only see the front. So that's gonna stay there. And so is the Alexis Sanchez jersey. The Alexis Sanchez jersey is hanging up on the wall, so you could only see the front and you can't see the back. And it's upstairs anyway. Hmm. Axe is liking my starting lineup. Would you guys change anything? Is it a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-2-4? I put it more in a 4-4-1-1. But I guess, I mean, it could kind of be a 4-2-4, but like just the position of where Ericsson would be, I would put him more behind uh Joshua Xerxes. The only problem with that is that, like, I don't know how efficiently we could press like that, because I don't think Ericsson can initiate the press. Uh because I don't think he's got the legs for it, and I don't think Xerxes is very good at initiating the press. Um that's why we usually see Bruno running in ahead and being in front of Joshua Xerxes, and Xerxes kind of dropping deeper to do the link up play and the build up play. So I'm not 100% sure how that would work out necessarily, because if you look into press, those two top players up there, they're not necessarily our best players in terms of starting the press. But yeah, I would go for that based more on just squad rotation minutes and youth. So um Grace is going with Barthez, Fabio, Smalling, Jones, Raphael, Gibson, Fletcher, Anderson, Bebe, Alexis, and Makeda. I mean, even now, At that lineup, we should be beating Barnsley even now, even with the Barthez's old ass Fabio. I'm pretty sure Fabio is still playing. I miss those guys. That was great when we had Fabio and Rafael, the two Brazilian brothers. I always wanted them to become stars. They never really. Fabio didn't really work out for him. Rafael, he did pretty good, but then he ended up leaving as well. Um, Smalling is Smalling. I we should have probably kept him at some point. We ended up selling him. Jones, get the stretchers ready. Unfortunately, and bring the pink boots. Um, Gibson never really had it. He was pretty average. Fletcher I loved. Fletcher always doing the dirty work. Anderson was such a hit and miss player. He was so good at Porto, and then when he came, he was so hit and miss. It was crazy. And then uh, it was that run when we went in the Champions League. He turned into Ronaldinho. It was actually crazy. And then he kind of just went back to being regular Anderson again. Bebe just I don't know what the hell we signed him for. Alexis never again, and Makeda had that wonder goal against Villa and never really made it. But even that team should that team right now would be Barnsley. I'm fairly confident of it. I don't even know, is Gibson still playing? Fletcher's obviously retired. I think Anderson's not playing anymore. He's retired. Bebe is somewhere. I have no clue. Alexis is retired, and Makeda, I have no clue where they are. Where are they? Where are these players? That would be actually interesting. Bebe is a winner. Set fire. I said. Oh, you want me to set? Oh, you said, can I set the fire to your Greenwood kid? Um, I did think about it at one point, but since I spent money on it, I didn't do it, and then I just figured that I do like the rest of the other kid and just put it on my wall and just put the back to it so we never see it again. So yeah. Ray's saying play the young players. Yeah, I would give these two young players. I think they're the most likely to get in there. You could argue for Ethan Wheatley up at striker. Uh, but I would go with something like this. Give two of the younger players their opportunities to start and play and show us what they got. And then if the match goes well, you could put in maybe another two or so, and go from there. I don't think you should put in too many young players. I think we need a good balance, a good mix of experience and young. I think it's a pretty good mix, especially for the players that are knocking on the door. I mean, Collier is in the match squad all the time, but he's on the bench. Wheatley is on the bench, but he's probably just there because Rasmus is injured, and I expect him to probably be out of the squad once Rasmus comes back because there's going to be limited space in the squad going forward. And I think Harry Amos, I'd just like to see him because he had a very good preseason. He showed very encouraging signs, and he hasn't been involved in the match squads at all for the beginning of the season. So Richard saying, I hope Jack Fletcher's on the bench. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. We could call up a couple players. Jack Fletcher being the son of Darren Fletcher. He also has another son, and I forgot his name. They are both in our academy right now. They are highly talked about. They're young. They're exciting prospects, and they're developing pretty good in the youth ranks right now. So it would be nice if we get to a point where both Fletchers uh, become good enough to be in the Manchester United main squad, and we can have a Fletcher, or we could have two Fletchers back playing for Manchester United's main team. So um, there's more chance of Jack Brandon getting a chance. Yeah, that's Darren Fletcher's son, Axe. And then he also has another son. I forgot his name though. They are both there. So yeah. I think that was good. Let me check to see if we got any updates while we went live because there might be some news. I'm sure there'll be end up being more news later because there's Ten Hag Part 2 of the press conference always comes out later on, which we probably won't be live for, but it is what it is. And let's see. We bring in a youth player that I don't know how old he is. Anthony Martial has reached a verbal agreement to join AEK Athens. So, geez, I mean, the downfall of that going from Manchester United to AEK Athens is kind of just absolutely crazy. Manchester United, we have a slight transfer update on one of these younger players from Europe. I'm sure many of you that are into that, or if you play Football Manager, you will know about this player. His name is Zver Napan. I believe he is a midfielder, I want to say. Manchester United and Bayern Leverkusen were at, I can't pronounce the team name, but they were there to watch the match that he plays for between Lillestrøm and Rosenborg. So they're there scouting him, and he was asked a question, and his comment said, "I didn't know about it, so I don't really think about it. It's always going to be like this. I don't think about it. I have to learn to deal with it, and I think I have." So he was asked about him being scouted. That was his response. We are scouting him. He is on our monitor. These are players that I like. Manchester United are looking at. We are giving more attention to players like this. I think it's smart. I think it's important that we grab these players before they go to a player, before they go to a team like a Bayern Leverkusen or an Austin Villa or a Brighton, something like that, because their fees will be much cheaper. We should be able to develop players like this, and make them into good players, and make them into players that people envy that they wish that they had signed, instead of us letting this player go to one of those teams like that, develops there, becomes looking like a very promising, very good young player, and then we have to pay a premium fee on it. We should be looking at these players before they go to clubs like Leverkusen or Brighton or something like that, so we could pay a lower fee and while having a top exciting prospect. So And anything else in the news that we haven't gotten to yet? Oh, the update, because we didn't do it. So the last time that we spoke, there was talk about maybe perhaps Manchester United might sign Adrian Rabiot, because he is a free agent. But Adrian Rabiot has gone on to Olympique Marseille and has signed for them, so that is out of the door. It is not happening, and he is gone. So yeah, I guess it is what it is. We did have discussions with his agent, and I guess Manchester United weren't really too interested in it, so they let it go, and he ended up signing for Marseille. So we have no more options in terms of bringing somebody else in on a free or whatever for that midfield. So whatever we got now is what we got until maybe at least January. So and they probably looked at the aspect of, we could get this guy in, but there is also Collier. So I guess he's probably going to get more opportunities, which is encouraging, because you want to see our youth players and our youth products, become part of the first team and get their opportunities. So um if that's the plan going forward, that's the plan going forward. We also do have Dan Gore, who is currently still injured right now, but maybe he might feature sometime later on in the season, when he comes back, and if he performs well and stuff like that. So, we might see a little bit more of the youth. I mean, Ineos have stated previous, or has been stated, that Ineos have been pushing for more emphasis um, on the youth direction. So let's see where that leads us to. Um, Jack scored a worldie for the U21s 2 weeks ago. I saw that. Plus, we stole them from City Academy. That's right, Richard. They were both Darren Fletcher's sons. Were both in the Manchester City Academy, and we poached them from there. Was it last season or I believe it was last season. So we took them out of there. We bring them to our academy, which is good. Axe isn't having it. He says he's had enough of sons of ex players. Uh, and then it goes to list on examples like Maldini, Haji, Chiesa, etc. Uh, and then Richard saying, "Yeah, but they're not United players." Well, we also have one to watch that's still fairly young, but there's Wayne Rooney's son as well, who seems to perform very, very well for his age group. So it's very unlikely most of the time. Actually, I think basically almost every single time. Um, if there's ever a great player, their sons never amount to what their fathers did. I can't think of a player that was great that had a son that came in that matched what they did or did better than them. So it's very, very unlikely and unusual. Um, but it is the true ultimate, I guess, dream you would say, or fantasy. It's things you do when you play Football Manager or you play FIFA Career Mode, where you're like, you force their progression for them to become absolutely amazing, just so you could have them in there because it's just the ultimate story. I mean, you know, but they are. I give it to them right now. Both his sons, they are doing pretty good. In the youth setup, and they are performing, and they do seem like they have a lot of potential. And a lot of room to grow that their already ability that they have. So, you never know. There's always a first for everything. So maybe they do come. Maybe they do come good. Maybe they become even better than Fletcher ever was. Gray saying wingers wide, eights in the half space, and fullbacks invert next to the DM City style, or wingers invert. Fullback backs overlap, and three-man midfield stays back Liverpool style? Question mark. Um, Wingers wide, eights in the half space, and fullbacks invert next to the DM. Yeah, I like our wingers to stay wide. I like the width. I like to play with width. I think it helps in a lot of aspects. And then obviously you would invert um the left back and the right back. I think that's probably the better tactic. I generally, and I think it's kind of sort of a little old school, but there's many matches where um I think our wingers invert too much. And I just in certain matches I would like our wingers to stay very wide so we could just like pull the other team out of position or stretch them. And I don't think we do that very much. I think width is very important, especially from the wingers. And the wingers, they create a lot of problems when it's done properly, and it really does stretch the team, which allows the center to be a lot more playable. And I think right now one of the problems that we kind of have is that we're very inverted. The wingers invert, um, and the fullbacks invert, and everything. There's a lot of emphasis on the center, which kind of I think does us a disservice when we're playing, because if we play against a team that's doing low blocks and they're trying to counterattack us, they literally just pack the center, and then we struggle to create and we struggle to score. So I do like that. In terms of that, I think the wingers should be wide. I would go with the wingers being wide. I like width from the wingers. And I think it just makes them be able to create more opportunities all around on the pitch. So, um, and Richard saying the inverted wingers are not working. Well, uh, I think Diallo, because he's left-footed, so I think Diallo. I think when Diallo and Garnacho play, even though is Garnacho also dominantly left-footed, so Garnacho would be playing on his side. But I think Diallo does a pretty good job uh, playing inverted. I think he does it pretty well. And I think even Garnacho can do it pretty well. The problems come from Antony. I don't think Antony inverts necessarily well, and Rashford is Rashford. And I would probably think. I mean, we've seen Rashford play on the right many times, and he's played pretty good there. He insists to play on the left. Uh, and I don't necessarily know why, because I think he's put in some better performances on the right side, and I think actually it would just help him create a little bit more, and then he can also still cut inside and shoot across goal. So, um, in terms of team chance creation, it would probably help us if we stop doing the whole inverted thing, and play players on the side that is their dominant foot, so that they can whip in some more crosses and some better passes with their dominant foot, and maybe that would lead to some more goals. But yeah, it's been a struggle. It definitely hasn't gone the way I thought this whole inverted talk would go when Ten Hag first came in, especially when you looked at it the way it was working at Ajax. It has not been replicated at Manchester United. We do have different, you know, profiles of players than to what he had at Ajax. So, and it is a completely different league, and it is a completely different level. So, um, Gray saying it also takes longer for the fullbacks to get back in transition when they're further up the field. It does. It does leave us. It does leave us exposed. So, oh, we have a Barnsley fan in here. Oh, Cool is joining us, saying he's a Barnsley fan here. Looking forward to traveling up to see my team get mauled by the Devils. Yeah, I mean, well, thank you for joining us, and if you want, you could provide us any insight into your team. What do you? Because I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I don't watch Barnsley, so I don't really know how you guys set up or play. I probably expect you guys to set up with low block. To be honest, and probably counterattack or try to counterattack. I assume for us to have most of the possession of the ball. Um, and I do expect us to beat you for sure. But I do expect at the same time that you guys are coming to play us, and you're gonna give it your all, and you're probably gonna be somewhat of a pain in the ass to play against, for sure. So but are you gonna be at the match though? Are you? So that's good. It's good experience. I wish I could do the same. Steven Inch will tell you how they play. No, but like I like the eye test. I haven't actually seen them play, so like I don't know how they actually play. Um, do they have any pacey players? Do they have some pacey wingers? Did they got like a tall striker or something like that? Did they have what's the aspect of the team looking like? Like, did they have pacey backs, full backs, or something like that? Did they have something special, interesting, something that's going to give them maybe an advantage or whatever? That's all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't know what aspects they've got in their squad. Like, I don't know what kind of players they have in their squad. So I guess we'll find out when we play them. I mean, I'll find out when we play them, and we'll see. Because I don't know the profile of players they have. I don't know. Did they got a striker that's like 6'5"? They're gonna be crossing the ball a lot. I have no clue how they're gonna play. I know how we should play, and I know kind of what we're gonna do. But what they're gonna do, not a clue. Not a clue. But we should be beating them. We should be beating them. And it should be a comfortable match for us. So that is the hope for that. I'm gonna keep checking the news. I also have to check something else real quick. Yeah. All right. It's cool. 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 Um, just gonna double check this stuff. No latest news. But that's pretty much it. Mason Mount. And yeah, I mean, so that's good that at least we don't have any new injuries. So that's always good because that was worrying me. I didn't know what happened to those three players. So, and I would like to see. Oh, yeah, Erik Ten Hag did have. I mean, it was a comment of a non comment, so I didn't really include it in the beginning. But Erik Ten Hag was asked on whether, Ugarte could feature versus Barnsley, and he said Ugarte, question mark. You will see tomorrow what the selection will be for this game. So, not really providing us an answer in terms of if Ugarte is going to play or not. There's speculation that he could start. I hope he does start. I would like to see him play at least 60 minutes. I want to see a little bit more, what he's really about, what he can really offer us. Obviously, he gave us the cameo last match. There wasn't so much to do, but there was a couple instances that you did see the ball retention and winning the ball back from the opposition, and even making a couple good forward passes. So obviously, we still need to see more. We need to see him more to really determine, what's his strengths and what's his weaknesses, and for us specifically. Um, but yeah, I would definitely, I want to see Ugarte. He is similar to the Lit. He is, he was brought in. He is the future. He is going to be playing an important role, and I want to get this ball rolling on him because we need to get that integrated as fast as possible if we're going to have a successful season, um, and just be a good team. Um, so Rio was talking on the five, to Ten Hag or something like that, and Rio said, "I stopped the interview. I said Marcus is laughing. Look at him. He looks happy. That ain't Marcus I keep seeing on the weekend." And then Ten Hag responded, "But this is Marcus I see every day." So Rio kind of questioning, Rashford, the way he looks, because he does look sort of unhappy when he is on the pitch, uh, and he hasn't really been looking like the cheery Marcus Rashford that we used to kind of see. And Ten Hag kind of playing that down, saying, you might see that for only 30 minutes or whatever, or 90 minutes. But I see Marcus Rashford every day, and basically saying that Marcus Rashford is happy. So let's see, what else have we got? Think we covered pretty much everything. Anything else that you guys want to talk about that we didn't discuss, or any, like, final thoughts and opinions, or anything like that? Throw it in the chat now. Scoreline predictions as well, if you want to get that in there. We could do that as well. I think we should win. I would say 3-0 Manchester United. Um, Coolest is saying, I personally have a lot of belief. I think we win, but I'm speaking on behalf of the fans. Oh, and he said, we play without wingers. We play a low block with wing backs. We're a bundle of energy. We don't expect anything out of the game, but another stadium to our 92. All right. So no wingers and low block. So you might frustrate us, honestly, playing like that, because of the way that I just said that we do play very inverted, and there's a lot of focus on the center. So I think if you guys, and you play with wing back, so you're probably going in a five back, of some sort, uh, and a lot of energy. So the energy is a good aspect for you guys as well, because if you out energy us, which you shouldn't, but I've seen it happen before. You could give us a match that I'm not expecting, and certainly many people aren't expecting. Um, but yeah, they don't play with wingers. They play like a five. It would be like a 5-3-2 essentially, or something. Acts like something like that. Like no wingers. They got like a five back with wing backs, and they played like three midfielders, two strikers, or like a five. Yeah, like a 5-3-2, or like a 5-2-1-2, or something like that. So there's no wingers necessarily in the in there. But yeah, I mean, the traveling fans are always up for it. And again, it's a big opportunity, and a big match for you guys. And I'm, not that I'm downplaying that we're gonna go in there and it's gonna be like a walk in the park. Even though I think that we should be winning this match 3-0. Um, but obviously, this is a big match, so you guys are gonna give it your all. I've seen it happen many times where we play a much smaller team. No offense, but a much smaller team, and they come out and they play the best football they've probably played, all season, or quite a long time. So, um, what's going on? Wait, what? Back your team. He's backing his team, but he's being realistic, Grace, at the same time. Uh Also, don't know if you're aware, but we played your under 21. Yeah, we talked about that before you came in here in a cup the other week, and and Andy Fletcher. Okay, that's his name, Andy. Son, and then Jack Fletcher. And he scored two past us both. We both put our young teams, but your manager sees potential. And in him starting over Collier. Yeah. Yeah, they did. I knew. I just found that out like 2 days ago when I was checking it out because I was checking out past. I was checking out Barnsley results. And I was looking at the form, and then I did see that our under 21 played you guys, and we won. Um, and that Jack Fletcher scored. Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting. If our under 21s can beat you, you must be rubbish. United. Richard saying United 4-0 Barnsley. Almost saying the thing is we have a tough game against Crystal Palace, so if we play a strong squad, we could lose that league game, which is more important. And I agree. I agree with you there, Alma, and that's why the squad rotation is important. It's just that I don't know, with Erik ten Hag, you never necessarily you think one way and you think of it in a logical way, but he constantly thinks of it in a different way, kind of to what the majority of the fans want and think, and then he goes with whatever he decides. So again, like I won't be surprised if he goes strong. I don't think he necessarily has to go strong, and I wouldn't go so strong. I think this team is strong enough and can get the job done. Um, but he might go way stronger than this. It's something he's done before, and it's something that he might do, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does because he's done it before. So, um, Cool is saying we will 100% run out of energy used with your back line consisting of Johnny Evans. I expect us to run riot on a personal level. I say we win. We take you down to penalties and we wipe the floor. There you go, Grace. That's him backing his team. What do you got to say to that now? You asked him to back his team, Grace. He's backed his team now. You can't tell him he's talking crap after he's backed his team. He's back this team. We got to be fair here. He's back. He's back in his team now. This is what you asked for, Grace. You ask and you shall receive from Coolest. So he's here. Almost saying I wouldn't play Xerxes tomorrow. Keep him for Crystal Palace. So would you put Wheatley? Would you put Wheatley up top then if you wouldn't play Xerxes? Because there's nobody else. It's either Xerxes or Wheatley, or you play. You can't even really play a false nine. So, but yeah, I think Kobe Manu should be rested. That's something that we didn't match. That we didn't mention for the match. I think Kobe Manu should not play at all. Kobe Manu doesn't need to play. He needs to be rested. He's been playing a lot. He played in the internationals, the break that we just had, and in the Euros, and we played him a shit ton last season. I think Kobe Manu should be one of the few players that should have absolutely 0 minutes in this match. And I would be okay with that. I think Kobe Minu needs rest. He's going to be playing a lot of matches for us. And we need to watch out for him. So, I think we need to just be cautious with him. You know. Grace explaining Grace explaining how I'm talking crap. Coolest, just so you know, just because you just joined us here. Grace is our lovely moderator, but Grace is her opinions and her things are very strong minded and strong worded. It's the way she banters, it's the way she does things. So don't take it so personal. It's just how she is. She likes to have fun in that aspect. Just so you know. Yeah. Yeah, see, she said she's just joking. It's just banter. It's just that's how she is. Just so you're aware, since you're new here. So uh Ray saying Maldini. Ray, I don't know. What about Maldini? Almo saying I would go strong, but not strong. I agree with you need to rest our players. We have a lot of games this season. So from my starting lineup here, Almo, that I put up, would you change any of that, or do you like that? Do you think that's good? Would you besides the Xerxes, you said you would swap Xerxes. or you would rest Xerxes. So would you put Wheatley there, and the rest of the team is looking good, or how would you do it exactly? Um, or Bruno, okay, or Bruno as the false nine. You said I would rest Bruno too, though, because Bruno plays every match, and I think in a match like this, I think you take the opportunity to rest him. I think Bruno probably needs a little bit of rest anyway, because Bruno's not looking so sharp for us. He hasn't. Uh, he's been pretty disappointing so far to this start of the season for us. For the most part. And maybe he's just fatigued from all the matches he plays. I mean, he played for Portugal as well. And he goes to play for Portugal. He plays very well, but again, there's always that aspect of comparing the internationals to league. It's not the same. Um, Club and country is never the same. So, you know, almost saying he would play Kobe. He wouldn't. I think he said I wouldn't. You meant wouldn't. I wouldn't play Kobe at all. Or Amado, Ligt, or Martinez. Would give Rashford a run out just to get him a bit of confidence after that goal against Southampton. Maybe he can get a couple of goals. Yeah. But then also the other aspect of it is maybe it would be bad for him. Because if Barnsley is playing, they play without, if they are playing in like a five back and a low block and stuff like that, it's probably going to be very frustrating for Marcus Rashford considering the way he plays. Uh, and if it doesn't go the best, they're gonna use it to hit on Marcus Rashford. If he doesn't perform well, and I think in a match like that where he's not gonna probably have a lot of space to do the things he likes to do, um, maybe it wouldn't go well. And he has been starting a lot of matches anyway. And he's probably going to continue starting. So I would hand the opportunity to Garnacho right now if he's not going to, if Garnacho's not going to be the starter and we're looking after his minutes and he's going to be the impact sub that he is at this moment, I'd give it to Garnacho. Um, Cool is saying he would just like to add historically, we have a better record against Liverpool than you. That's my only thing to give me belief for tomorrow. If we can beat them, we should walk. Yeah, but then also, Liverpool, they beat us, but then and they've done this twice. They've done this twice actually, back to back. They beat us, and then the next match they go play, they lose, and they lose at home. So football is football, and it is crazy. It is hectic. It is when you try to make sense of it. That is the time that it makes no sense. Um, you know, even for me, you'd ask me. I would have told you Liverpool was going to win that match 2-3-0. They were home. They scored 0 goals and they lost 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. So, sometimes that's that, but that's the magic of football. Anything can happen. Especially when you think it's gonna go one way and it goes the complete opposite way. Uh, Almost saying he would play Garnacho because he needs game time. Antony, I wouldn't play. He's shocking. I've seen enough of him. So almost done with it. Almost done with Antony. He's done with Antony. I think we need to give Antony the chance to do it anyway. And like I'm saying, we're playing Barnsley. If you can't go out and perform against Barnsley, then there's literally no hope for you. As a Manchester United player, winger looking for some opportunities. Um, but he does need game time, and we don't really have like. I don't think we really have any youth candidates for wingers as well. Because if there were, I mean, I would maybe think about throwing them in. But we're gonna need Antony to play. Even if you are in the camp of you're done with him and you don't think he's gonna make it, and you would sell him or whatever. And to be quite honest, I haven't 100% given up on him because we do need him to come good somehow, or at least play decent, halfway decent, or something. Just something that can add to the squad. But in terms of like when we get to next summer, I would be looking to sell him anyway. I would personally sell him and bring somebody else in. Um, so yeah, I would do that. But he's with us for the remainder of the season. Maybe until January, but I doubt he'll go in January anyway. And so we're gonna need to give him some minutes, and we're gonna need to see if we could get him into some type of form. And yeah, because we're gonna need him for this entire season. So he is one of the options. Unfortunately, I mean, what if knock on wood, but what if Garnacho or Diallo get injured, or Rashford, or what if we have two wingers injured? He's gonna have to play. He's gonna need to perform. So we are gonna need him to step it up somewhere. Cool is saying Rashford won't play. He will just stand outside the ground with his crappy pack lunches for the children sitting in block F. Not a Rashford fan, I take it then. He does perform for the children, though. Anytime it has something to do with children, he does step up his performances. I mean, he scored the goal, and he did promise that young lad that's in the hospital that he would dedicate his next goal to him, and then literally right in the next match he scored a wonderful goal. So when the children are on the line, Marcus Rashford does perform. You can't take that away from him in that aspect. So I think we need to we need to put more pressure on him with the children aspect, and we'll see prime Marcus Rashford come back. Don't be harsh with the children, especially those from marginalized communities. Yeah, no, he's giving some banter acts. He's giving some banter. Um, oh cool, coolest. My advice is don't talk before we bite, because once we bite, we don't let go. You will find that out tomorrow. Well, we will see, coolest. Let's see. Bring it on, coolest. Let's see what happens. What happens, and then you could join us. You can join us for the match recap that we do. We will be live after the match, discussing and reviewing the match. So you could join us. You could come back and join us as well, and we would welcome you back, of course. And we're happy to have you here. So, for sure. Uh, Almost saying Ugarte looked decent when he come on. I think he will play. He will play Cass in the midfield with Collier. Ugarte will be on the bench if we need him. Yeah, he could. There's so many options that he could actually really go with. I mean, he could play Ugarte Collier. He could play Ugarte Casemiro. He could play Casemiro Collier. He could play. Uh, he could play Casemiro. He could play Menu. Really. Even though I wouldn't advise it, but he could play Menu. He could play Menu and Ugarte. He could play Menu and Collier. He could do. There's probably 50 different possibilities of what he could do. And I can't even tell you what he is actually going to do, because this guy, every time you think you have Ten Hag kind of figured out, he just does something that makes you question, honestly, what the hell is he doing? Or why the hell has he gone with that? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and makes him look really bad. But yeah, I still think he'll probably go fairly stronger, probably stronger than this. If he does something like this, he'll actually surprise me. If he goes stronger, it's not a surprise. So, um, you know, but Ugarte did look decent. I would want Ugarte to start. Give him a fair 60 minutes against Barnsley. Get the match fitness up. Um, and back on Rashford almost. Oh, Antony. He's saying I'm done. I'm done with him. I seen enough. I actually would have kept Sancho instead, but it is what it is. Yeah, I would have kept neither of them, to be honest. But we just couldn't do what we couldn't do, and Sancho was the one that was more of a problem in terms of just like wanting to play, and problems with the manager. Obviously Anthony's not performing well, and he's probably has his own fair share of problems with Ten Hag right now because he's not getting selected. But in terms of like attitude, mentality, I think Anthony will continue to at least try and prove wrong, and try and fight and take it on the chin, whereas Sancho was just like totally done with the whole aspect of Manchester United. So we had to move him on. Um, Cass will definitely play because he won't play against Crystal Palace. It will be Kobe and Ugarte. Yeah, that's actually a good point too, because we have to think about the Crystal Palace thing going forward. So, um, if you are looking to get Ugarte and Menu, starting against Crystal Palace, then you would want to certainly start Casemiro in this match. And, again, another experienced player. And then maybe you put Casemiro next to Collier so they could kind of balance each other out with experience and youth. So yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you there, Omar. I wouldn't play Kobe. He's playing too many games. Definitely needs a rest, 100%. Um Axe saying, are you willing to consider opening a Discord in the future? Yes, 100%. And we actually need to do that because we could do that so I could open so we could do like a call in and we'll do it from the Discord, which I will be looking into. I haven't gotten a chance to do it. But I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna look how to set it up, and I'll get it set up somewhere in the next couple months or so. So, I would say probably, hopefully, um, latest November, if not sooner. Let's see how things go, but definitely looking forward to that. And that's I was gonna ask you guys as well, before we end the show, because we're gonna end the show fairly soon, the next couple minutes. Is there anything that you guys would suggest that we can do on this channel that we're not doing right now? I just mentioned the call-in. That you guys think would be a good idea, or that you guys would want to get involved in or be a part of, or yeah, something like that we could add to the shows, um that we can do going forward. And I will write them down so I don't forget, if you guys do have any. And Cool is saying, I swear if Antony scores and gives us a Newport celebration, I will piss myself laughing. He thinks he is it, and he's cringy. He is quite a little bit cringy, but you know what that comes from? That comes from like his attitude as always being like he's always like fighting. Is his emotions. He's very emotional. He is a very emotional player. He did that shit against Newport because his emotions overwhelmed him, which is sort of a problem because you don't want emotions dictating how you uh react necessarily. But he is, you could tell by just his personality. He is a very overly emotional person. And it does seem like his emotions do dictate his decisions a lot of times. And that was purely out of the frustration and the shit talking that he did that against Newport. And he might do something similar, if he does play and does start, and he does score or something like that against Barnsley. He might do something like that again. I wouldn't put it past him because he is sort of getting beat up left and right here. He's not playing a lot. There's a lot of people criticizing him, rightfully so, I would say. Um, there's just a lot of hate towards him right now. So I wouldn't put it against him. Yeah, to chat as well. Um, but I got a buddy of mine that's setting up some type of Discord, so maybe we integrate it in that aspect, or we make a completely separate one as well. So, there's a couple things going on in the background. I'm looking at things as well. Just nothing like 100% in motion yet, but we are looking at stuff like that. Um, it's a good arguments and banter going on in the chat. Olmo, I also think he will play Onana. I don't think we ever seen Biender. Yeah, I think he might actually go with Onana. That's what I'm saying. Like I would go with Biender. But knowing Erik Ten Hag, he'll start Onana. Biender will never see the day of light. Um, ever again, unless Onana gets injured or has to go to like Africa Cup of Nations or something like that. Yeah, that's seems like the typical Ten Hag move. Uh, to be honest, it's kind of sad the way Antony has gone. He cares about the club. I have no doubt about that, but he's not good enough in my opinion. Yeah, from what I've seen, from what he's shown us, he's not good enough, and I agree with you there. Um, and it is kind of sad because there was a lot of hype and there was a lot of hope when we first signed him, and it's gone exponentially just poor, just really bad. It's been a big letdown. We should have obviously. I mean, there was talks that he was never worth that money when we signed him anyway. But 100%, probably in terms of transfer fees, one of the worst signings, unfortunately. And I do feel bad because you do see that like he does care and he does want to make it here. He does want to be like a good player here. And it just hasn't gone that way for him. So it is sad in that aspect. Um, but he has this season, and whatever opportunities he gets from this season, he's got, and maybe he can, do something to change our minds. But as of right now, I stand with what you're saying, Almo. Like he just isn't good enough. But he is part of the squad, and we are going to need him one way or another at some point, now or later. So we are going to have to still try and see if we can get something out of him. Even if you don't believe it, I don't think the way things are looking right now. I'm with you in that aspect, but we still need to try, I guess, because we need him. Even though I don't think it's most likely going to happen. I think the most likely scenario is he's going to have a very, if average season. And then by next summer, we will be moving him on and selling him and getting out of the club. And you're saying he's not a United player. And right now he's not. He hasn't shown really any of that. It seems like his profile does not fit the club very well at all. So Grace saying Antony is going to run circles around around Barnet tomorrow, literally. Is gonna do a couple fidget spinner moves. I think Grace is alluding to there. Axe saying when you talk about the stats, also show them on the stream. Stats. Oh, like when I did last time, like the match stats and stuff like that. Yeah, we could do that. I could do that. That's easy to do. That's something quick and easy. That's good. Cool is saying you need to play Onana because they're not messing around. They're not messing about. Um, he has he ever played for us? That goalkeeper, I've never seen him. He played. He played one match. I'm pretty sure. I think the most he ever played was one match. I think it was when Onana went. I don't know if it was when Onana went to the African League Nation. I think he played one match, and then Biender was supposedly going to play another match, but then Onana ended up coming before the Tottenham match and played or something like that. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he played one match. If my memory is serving me correctly, like an actual match. Uh, and we also need to stick to Martinez and Ligt in the league unless injuries. That's the best defensive display I've seen in a long time from us against Southampton. I mean Southampton. I get what you're saying there, but you have to remember Southampton. They are very very bad. And they literally cannot score. So while they were solid, and I do agree with you though, I think Martinez and Ligt are our best uh center back partnership, and we need to stick with them. And I think we are going to stick with them because I think that was the point. And they have previous history playing together as well, so the connection, the chemistry, and all that is already there's already a foundation for it. So I think definitely we need to stick with them going forward. Hopefully, no injuries to either one of them. We need as least amount of injuries, especially to them as possible. And I think they do provide solidity back there, and they provide confidence they provide confidence to me, but they provide confidence to the rest of the squad as well, because they are two very very good center backs. The Ligt getting on the score sheet as well, so he could provide something off of set pieces now as well, which is good. Yeah, like that picture. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for sure. Wasn't it a friendly on tour? Yeah, I think he did play in the friendly as well, but I think it was he never played. Oh, we played Tom Heaton. So he's never played. Binder has never actually played for us in like an actual match, like not a preseason match, like a real match, like a match that counts for something. He's never played. That's that's actually that's actually madness. That's actually madness. Burning up the Barnsley shirts tomorrow on stream. I would have to go get one. I don't even know where I would get one, Grace. Where would I get where would I get a Barnsley shirt from? I don't even know where I'd be able to get one over here in America, in New York. I wouldn't even be able to get one. I'd have to. Do they even sell them online? I would have to order express shipping. I wouldn't arrive. I wouldn't arrive. He's never played. That's absolutely crazy. Almost saying I understand that. Sorry about that vibration thing. That's my phone. I understand that, but they too are definitely the two we need. I don't want to see Maguire back in the team unless it's a Europa League or a game or something. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, but this isn't the league. This is for the Carabao Cup. So you could bring Maguire and Evans back in there, and no, definitely. Martinez, Ligt all the way for the rest of the season, 100%. Um, just on the bench, yeah, that's madness. Then I'd definitely advocate for him to play. I mean, play the guy. Come on, what'd you sign him for? It's like he's a prisoner then. Um, give him a match. Like if you were gonna give Heaton the game, why can't you give him a match? Um, yeah, great. Sorry about that. I took it off the. I had it on the little desk here. It's all the Twitter notifications going off. So apologies for that. My bad. Didn't know that was didn't know that was happening. But yeah. Onana will definitely play. Ten Hag is weird. I put my money on it. No chance. He don't play. I'll be surprised. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that is the typical Ten Hag move to do. That he is gonna go with Onana, and he'll probably go fairly more strong than this. I don't expect to see Amos, even though I would like to see Amos, and I don't even expect to see Collier. To be quite honest, I don't. But we will see. We will see. Let's not be arrogant now with the burning of shirts. Grace is gonna get us in a lot of trouble one day, but it's okay. It's okay because she's here for us and we're here for her. So, um, plus come December, November, we will have Leny Yoro back. Yes, that is actually something that we forgot to mention as well. I mean, we will have Yoro back, so it will be looking more like Martinez, Delit, Yoro, and then whoever wants to fight for that other spot between Maguire and Lindelof, as long as we stay clear of the injuries. So that's obviously the go-to move there. Grace arguing to be arrogant. Um, so Grace doing Grace things as she always does. And almost saying, to be honest, Alejandro Garnacho has a chance to start against Crystal Palace. I think he played very well when he came on. Looks very bright. Ahmad definitely needs to play on the right. Well, that's the thing, and I see what you're saying there, but won't see him because he won't drop Rashford, and there you go. And I think you said exactly what I was going to say, because I think in terms of performance and form and impacting matches, I think you're 100% correct, Alma. I think Garnacho normally would have a very good chance to start against Crystal Palace. But for the fact of that, we all know that Marcus Rashford is 110% going to start and he's going to play. Garnacho won't get that spot. And Amad Diallo has been playing very well on the right. So, it would be unfair to Diallo to put in Garnacho, um, when Diallo is performing well, just because he chooses that he has to go with Marcus Rashford instead of going with Garnacho. So, you know, um, yeah, I still don't agree with it. And I guess we got to see where it goes. I mean, he has gotten on the score sheet now. He did play a little bit better. I'm talking about Rashford. He did play. He did put in a better performance than he's been putting in. So hopefully, he puts in a better one in the next match he plays, and he keeps continuing to go forward. And then maybe we have very strong competition all around. on the winger spot, which is a headache that I would actually very much welcome. Um, uh, Coolest is saying Barnsley's defense are all 6'4", and our attackers are 6'3" and 6'2". Our left wing back is Donovan Pines, ex DC United player, and he is 6'6". All right, so you guys are going to be threatening aerially. Definitely set pieces, for sure. Corners, free kicks. Probably expect some crosses in as well. And then you're gonna make our lives hard in terms of we probably, if that's the case, then we probably are not going to see many crosses into the box. I mean, maybe a couple to Joshua Xerxes because he is decently tall, but we don't have the tallest players. So maybe we're gonna set up to play more down the middle. Which again could be problematic if you guys do, keep your shape and play very very just hard defensively. You might make it a very pain in the ass game for us. But we'll see. But that's good insight. So thank you for that, Coolest. I appreciate it because, again, I have no knowledge about how Barnsley plays or the type of players you guys have. So I appreciate the insight that you provided us so far. So let's see what happens. The only way Garnacho gets into the team is if we get injuries, God forbid. Yeah, right now, yeah. Um, there is another way, Almo, and I think but it's more of a process. The other way would be if Rashford continues to play so poor, and it's a process because it would take probably a fairly long time. But if Rashford continues to play, just absolutely garbage, after a certain time, I think Ten Hag would end up dropping him, especially if Garnacho continues to perform how Garnacho's been performing. I do think that would happen, but it would just take way longer than any of us um, would take to make that change. I think that was pretty much kind of the conversation that was going on before Rashford had that performance the other day, because it seemed like it was like it only seemed like a matter of time. But now Rashford kind of bought himself a little bit more time, and put himself a little bit more in favor with scoring that goal and playing the way he did. So, we got to see how it goes going forward. But yeah, as of right now, that probably seems like his fastest way to get into the squad would be the God forbid injuries, which we don't want. Grace saying she's only like this because I work in London and I worked with a lot of guys and they were big fans of Arsenal and Chelsea and they used to chat crap too. It was all banter but good. But God, they were arrogant. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the culture. It's out there, Grace, for sure. And it is what it is. It's at the end of the day, it's banter. You give some, they give some, you take it, they take it. You gotta do what you gotta do. It's at the end of the day, it's all fun, it's all love. It's all it's in the name of the game and the sport. You say whatever you want. I'm here for all types of things as long as it's not crossing the line, abusing somebody. And by that I mean like you know, racial stuff, extreme name calling with explicitives in it. As long as we don't hit that point, everything else is all fair game and play to me, and it's all fun and games and back and forth. So, no one will ever be silenced on this channel, um, even if it's a controversial opinion, as long as it's not something that's totally over the line, like I just mentioned. So, and that will always be my promise. I we're here for people to speak and have opinions and interact with other people, um, and have good chats and fun too. Funny chats, funny comments. I love funny comments. I love funny stuff. Um, you know, I'm a big stand-up comedian fan, so anytime somebody wants to make something that's it could be controversial but it's funny at the same time, I'm here for it because I like that aspect of the world. Um Yoro will be a very good squad player to have when he comes back. We forget about him, but he looks unreal. Yes, we do forget about him because we haven't seen him yet. But yeah, I mean, 19 has good ability, very high potential. So he is going to be very good, and I think it's perfect for him as well. I think his player profile, I think fits the squad perfectly right now because we have Ligt and Martinez. Then we have Yoro, who's going to be learning the ropes with a high potential, young, and he can grow into a fantastic player so that by the time that he is ready to take the mantle from one of those two, we're ready to go with another one, another fantastic player ready to go. So, I have a lot of high hopes for him, and I hope, he comes back as soon as possible, and I hope he plays a big part in the squad. Um, Cool is pointing out that we will cover aerial with Slabhead, but corners are your main threat. Yeah, but even if Slabhead's in there, I mean, it's only one player. I mean, if you look at the rest of the squad, the only two tall players in there was, and that's if Collier plays. Collier is decently tall. Maguire's tall, and Xerxes tall. If the rest of your squad, you're outnumbering us with these tall players. And then especially in the midfield, because Casemiro's not that tall. Ugarte ain't tall. We don't have a lot of height in that midfield anymore. Um, Now that Axe Lord's favorite player of all time, Scott McTominay, is gone. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, the dynamic. So we will see. Uh, Cool. Also saying we also have a player on each side with long throws. Oh, ooh, kind of Stoke City Roy Delap vibes going on here. Mark Roberts, who carried us to promotion to the championship, came back this season. He's 30, and he can pick out a player, and that's our main threat. All right. Um, so I'm just gonna quickly message Erik Ten Hag and let him know all of this information so he's ready for tomorrow. Um, I'm joking. Yeah, but that's interesting too. So we gotta watch out for the long throws tomorrow as well. I'll be looking out for them when I'm watching the match, for sure. Mark Roberts, yeah. They better be ready for that. That better be in the analysis, in their pre-match analysis that they do. Almost saying, does it worry you about Sancho and the way he played for Chelsea? I've never seen him do that for us in 3 years. The clown was at our club, bro. Not really. Not really. I mean, I kind of expect him to go and put on performances. Probably kind of like the one that he did against Chelsea. I didn't really watch I had the match on, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. Uh, Listen, it is what it is. We got to the point where he was done and we were done. And whatever he does, he does. Clearly he wasn't enjoying his time at Manchester United, and clearly it wasn't working. So, we had to get rid of him. He had to go. Um, he obviously clearly now has more of a point to prove, and he's going to have a little bit of a fire up his ass to do so. And I kind of expect him to perform. I'm not too worried about it. There's nothing really to worry about. What is there to worry about? The banter? It's banter. People are going to try and banter us anyway, regardless. It is what it is. Like I just said, you give it and you got to take it. So if he performs well and we're getting bantered for it, so be it. But in terms of for the outlook of the club, it is the better choice because it just was a very toxic. Uh, it came down to a toxic relationship, and it was one that wasn't very fruitful. So, it is what it is. But at the same time, he might have this start right now at Chelsea. But my money on it is still that he'll probably end up not being as effective as they're trying to hype him up to be right now because I don't think he has the mentality. And I think that showed when he was at Manchester United. Again, Manchester United is a different beast. No matter how shit we are, it is a totally different animal to a Chelsea, or to other clubs. So when you're at Manchester United, the pressure and all that, and the media coverage and all that stuff, you have to have a certain type of mentality and you have to have a certain attitude. Uh, that you could have it at another club, but you're not going to get away with it at Manchester United. So, I I I just don't think he has the attitude, the mentality to keep himself going, to project, to keep propelling himself on this trajectory so far. It's one match, and he's gonna do what he's got to do, but it is what it is. The only thing that I would hate is if when we play Chelsea, but he is on loan. Does anybody know? Because that was something that I wanted to see, but I don't think we ever got the detail, and maybe we got it later on and I missed it or not. But does anybody know, is Jadon Sancho allowed to play against us when we play Chelsea? Because he is on loan, even though the deal would then become permanent in the summer. But technically, right now, he is on loan. And usually, when a player is on loan, they're not allowed to play against the parent club. So, is he allowed to play against us? Or is he not? Is something that I would want to find out and know. Which I think is something interesting. Cool is saying they're not a dirty team, so don't worry, we won't injure your players. If we tried to, we would injure ourselves. Well, that's a good note. For Barnsley, for our Barnsley fan from Coolest. So hopefully no injuries. Definitely. And you don't want players getting injured anyway on either team, unless it's a Liverpool player. Because I hate them, so I don't care about them. But health wise, no, I don't want no career ending injuries for no players, even the Liverpool players. But they get injured against us, that's good. Pull them out, let them lose the match. But yeah, otherwise in general, yeah, no injuries, no injuries. You don't want to see sports players getting injured. It's literally the worst. It sucks. It's a bad feeling. You don't want that. Grace coming more with the banter. Almost saying he won't drop Rashford, no chance. I've seen Rashford been terrible and still been on the pitch. Yeah, but I think it was building up to that. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, he did do, that whole season last season, continuing to constantly pick Rashford, and it went into this season. And I think if it continued, there would have been a point where he would have had to do it, whether he wanted to do it or not, because there's no way you do 2 full seasons of Marcus Rashford performing the way he was, and you continue to pick him while Garnacho is performing the way Garnacho's performing, and Diallo's performing the way Diallo's performing. But now, because Rashford had that performance, I think it's slightly changed the projection. And I think it's slightly bought Rashford a little bit more time. And it's bought Ten Hag a little bit more time in terms of him continuing to pick Rashford. But if that was a one-off, and we go 10 matches later, and Rashford is playing some of the worst football you've ever seen Rashford or any player play, I think it will come, and Garnacho's still doing what Garnacho's been doing off of the bench. I think it will come down to literally he will be forced into having to drop Marcus Rashford. I think it was coming. But my buddy Liam is in here. Jayane, my buddy Liam from Malta, from Gozo, is in here. He said Jayane. If you don't know what JA means they are coming. They are coming. It is a little saying that we have over there, so a little inside joke between us. So good to see you, Liam. Glad you're in here, buddy. Thank you for that. Saying Ahna, he's saying Ahna Jayain, which means we are coming. We are coming. Axe joining in with the Ahna Jayain. Just seeing that now. So shout out to my boy Liam. Thank you for that. I miss you guys. I hope you're all doing good. Yeah. Cool is saying my mates are Coventry fans, and I've always said to them we're better than you, so I hope we do better than them against you, but only time can tell. Sancho thrives on enthusiasm, and the Rat got an assist. Yeah, he got an assist, So it is what it is. It's an obligation to buy. Let him get bored. Yeah, wait for him to get bored. Right now, he's got a lot of, that's what I'm saying. He's got a lot of fire right now propelling him. But when the flame starts dimming, then we'll see. Because I really do think, from the information we're privy to and the way he is, I just think his mentality and attitude, are not going to be able to take him very, very far. So he's not allowed to play against us. So that's good. So that would be the only thing that I would be worried about is he plays against us, especially this season right now. He plays against us, and when we play Chelsea and he ends up scoring, or if he scores the winning goal or he beats us, that would be That would be something I don't want to see and I would absolutely hate. So that would be the only thing I'd be worried about. But in terms of just him continuing on at Chelsea, he's Chelsea's problem now. He's Chelsea's problem to worry about, not ours. So, it is what it is. If they finish 14th or above, they have to buy him. Imagine he's so bad. Imagine he becomes so bad somewhere in the period of the season that they tank and on purpose to get to 15 just to get out of that obligation. That would be something absolutely hilarious. Plus, we have a big sell on clause, so I hope he does well and they sell him. Yeah, that would be good too. We do have a good sell on clause. We need another attacking player probably next season. If Greenwood continues doing what he's doing, I would consider honestly taking him back. I truly mean that. Forget about everything else. Well, Grace isn't gonna like that, but you are allowed to your own opinion, as is she. And I don't think Greenwood's ever gonna come back. I think he's done. I think it's done. I think it's over for him. And while I'm not saying we don't need another attacking player, we could go get another attacking player. I don't think it'll be Greenwood though, Almo. I think that ship has sailed. I think it's a dead dream for the ones that want him back. For sure. I don't think he'll ever come back. I don't think it's something the club wants to deal with. I think they've they've made the decision, and I think they've wiped their hands from that. I don't think they want to deal with the optics of that anyway, because there are many people out there that never want to see him at Manchester United again. There are many people out there that want to take him back. It's a very controversial topic. It's very polarizing, and I don't think the club wants to deal with it in any aspect. I think they've made the decision, and that is that he will never play for Manchester United ever again, and he will never come back to Manchester United. So I think that ship has fully sailed on him. Um, what time you live till? I'm about to end it, to be honest, because we run on pretty long. We run on pretty long. I'm starving. I need to eat, and I need to do a couple things too. So, but the show's been absolutely fantastic. We had a couple new people get involved in the chat with Coolest Barnsley fan Almo, and our usuals with Grace, our moderator, and a couple of my buddies from Malta, Liam and Daniel coming in here, showing some support as well. Richard and then Axe and Ray was in here briefly. Got a little bit lost, I think, but that's all right. Yeah, so it's been really good, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And my buddy's here. Liam's still in here. Liam, Jay I know Jay. Thank you, buddy. It's good to see you, and I hope you pop in from time to time and join in if you have anything to say. We're gonna be live tomorrow, Liam, after the match, bro. So after the game is over, we're gonna do a live match reaction. If you want to come join us and give us any of your opinions on the match after we play tomorrow, come in here because it'll be good to talk and stuff like that. So, but thank you. And if you didn't, smash the like button for me because I need those likes. So that helps out too, buddy. Grace saying Jane, bro, winter is coming. Winter is definitely coming. We need to we need to figure that out. So you could tell that Grace, you could say that to Coolest. You could tell him Jane, we're coming. United is coming. United is coming for them tomorrow. Yeah, that works in that way too. For sure. Let me real quick because Twitter was going off before, so we might have gotten some updates. United news. So I just want to see. So there was. Oh, I think we made it to the second part of the Ten Hag thing, so we can just do this real quick before I get off. Because we did make it to the second comments. That's been asked, and there is a couple more things Ten Hag has said on Antony. So we can do this real quick, and we'll go through this. Let me just find where it started so we don't repeat the same thing. So Ten Hag part 2 of the press conference has come out. Ten Hag says this is professional football. This is the top level football. These are the laws. You pick the team that you think has the best chance of winning a game. Players have to fight for their position. You pick the XI that has the best dynamic, the best chemistry. So a little bit more insight into, I guess, what he's thinking about for tomorrow. He also said more things about Antony. He said Antony has to bounce back. He has the ability to do it if he does what he needs to do. He can compete with Ahmad and Garnacho. He is fighting for his place. This is what we expect from every Manchester United player. Somebody's going to point out he did not mention Marcus Rashford. He said they are competing for Ahmad and Garnacho. What about Marcus Rashford? He did say that this is what we expect from every Manchester United player, but you didn't mention Marcus Rashford, so you make it seem like Marcus Rashford spot is cemented no matter what. Somebody's gonna pick up on that, and they're gonna drive it into a big talking point. Ten Hag also said all competitions are important. Top level football is defined by titles. I don't know. Somebody said that in the beginning of the show today. Somebody said it. I don't know who it was, but somebody said it. But he said top level football is defined by titles and achieving short and long term goals. When you win a competition, it means you have achieved a goal and you have worked hard. He also went on to say, with all the players available, we can build a team that can play very dynamic, very proactive football with a lot of speed, which is what I want to see, and many of us have been asking for, being very good in offensive transition, something that we haven't seen yet, but we're hoping that we can. But we also want to dictate the game. And that's something that we're missing. We're missing dictating the game, but in a fast tempo. Right now, our squad only seems to be able to dictate the match, but at a very, very slow pace. And it's too slow. It's way too slow. We need to figure out, or he needs to figure out, how to get the squad to dictate the match, but at a fast pace. That is, I think, the number one aspect that we are missing right now in terms of how we are playing. If we can figure out how to dictate the match while playing fast, I think we will become very, very dangerous. But we can't seem to do it. We either dictate the match, but we play very slow, or we play very fast, but we're very sloppy and we don't dictate the match. So we need to see, how we can get to that position, because I think that's one of the most important aspects right now that we're missing. Antony, a lot of things on Antony, repetition. There are players. So then he said on Ten Hag also said the other players are doing very well. We have Ahmad, Garnacho, who are very effective. Rashford scored this weekend. And then he said Antony has to perform in training, but the others are doing very well, so he has to get ahead of them. So pressure is up on Antony now. Ten Hag pulling him out there, putting him out in front of the knives. So it's all up to Antony, I guess, at this point. Let's see. I'm reading through this because I follow many accounts, so they repost the same thing. So I don't want to go over the same thing. So Ten Hag asked about what his game model consists of now. So finally, we get a good question. And hopefully, let's see the answer because I'm doing this live with you guys. So Ten Hag is saying that he responded to that question by saying that is a very open question. You expect me to answer this in 1 minute? It's almost impossible. We provided a video last year that showed you some great football from us, and it was dynamic. If we have the players, we provided a video last year that showed some great football from us, and it was dynamic. If we have the players available, we can play very dynamic and very proactive with a lot of speed. Good in attacking transition, but we also want to dictate in possession, and from there, we will find our moments to speed up. So, finally, they asked him a question that relates to the playing style and what he's trying to see, because I think they don't ask him enough of these questions, because there's a lot of talk about, what tactics and how he's setting up the team to play and certain shit that's going on in the pitch that's annoying fans. But when he asks stuff like this, and I'm sure there's a lot more detail to go into, but I think he summed it up very good for us, and I'm happy that he actually gave us a decent answer and didn't just brush it off as like nonsense, because we want answers like this. and I think all the things he's saying is very exciting, but we need to you need to figure it out how to translate it onto the pitch because we're not seeing it. There's a lot of times where it's not dynamic. It's not super proactive, and it doesn't have a lot of speed. I had just mentioned that before I read this comment. Um, and sometimes there are small moments that it is, but it needs to be consistently more in that aspect. So I hope that's where we get to because we need to. Ten Hag also saying we have to take the match very seriously. We have to work on the au- auto ooh, automatisms. Okay. Many players have not played together during the preseason, so we have to work on that. And the only way possible is in the matches because training is almost always dedicated to recovery because of the number of matches. So, again, a little bit more insight. I think, good information here. That we are getting an insight into some of the problems. I mean, a lot of people say, "Did they not work on this in training? Did they not do this in training?" And Ten Hag kind of saying that like we don't have the opportunity to really do a lot of the other stuff in training because training, because of the amount of matches and stuff like that, is basically a lot of recovery. Um, and we're trying to figure out in playing in the matches. So I don't know, maybe that's a bad approach though from the manager. I think a lot of people are going to disagree with that. I don't think a lot of people are going to like that as well, uh because it does almost seem like we are trying to figure out how to play solely by in the matches we're playing, and it's not really coming from something that we're doing on the training ground, which is not really a good aspect. And you don't necessarily want that. I don't necessarily like that. Um, so I don't know that statement worries me a little bit. And is probably privy to some of the problems that we're seeing now. I mean, when I say that we didn't look ready and that we weren't ready for Liverpool, that probably one of the reasons why. I mean, now, players not playing together in preseason, that's, a couple things. Those are things slightly out of his hand with, the internationals and this and that. So that's kind of the problem. But from here going forward, um, we should be doing something in training to help us play better on the pitch. We should not just be figuring out everything on the pitch. That's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a process, and it's not going to give us the best chance of success. Um, so let me read what you guys are saying because I wasn't reading to the chat. Um, Almost saying he think he will also play the lit if he's honest. He does weird shit. The coach is very odd. He does compared to what we think, and what the room and the Manchester United fans are saying. He's not getting the squad over Ahmad or Garnacho. Maybe a League Cup game. I don't think Christian Eriksen will play. Knowing the coach, he will play him against Crystal Palace and put Ugarte on the bench again. He stick with the winning team until we lose. He is weird. Yeah, he does that sometimes. His rotation choice of rotation is sometimes weird. Great saying it is funny how we can't be negative to Rashford after a poor season, but we have to say he's back to his best after one game. Rashford looked better on Saturday. Very good tracking back. Yeah, he seems to be doing that a little bit more than last season, certainly. So there are slight um, differences and improvements that I've noticed in his game, but we still need he still has a lot more that he has to do for me to be praising him and for me to be saying that he deserves to be starting. He's not there yet. One performance certainly isn't going to do it against a team that's literally 0 for 4 in the Premier League and has a negative goal difference. Um, but I am trying to be positive for him because I want him to do good. So, and like Grace said, let's see if he stays consistent. If we don't stick him on the bench, yep. Which video is he talking about? What video? I think there was like at the end of the season, Manchester United account put like together a compilation of like some of the goals and stuff, and plays to recap like the season. I think they put it out, and I think he's referring to that video, saying, well, if you look at that, some of the goals that, and there was like the build up in the goals. We scored some very good goals. We had some very good attacking build up, some very good plays and stuff. So I think he was referring to that video. I'm pretty sure. Axe. Um, almost saying, the thing is, what I don't like about Ten Hag is he sticks with the winning team until we lose. Uh, yeah, I think he should, though, to a certain degree. But then also tactically, you might have to switch out one or two players. I don't think it should be so black and white. But then, like I get what you're saying. Like, it shouldn't be so black and white. Like, just because this team like has been the winning team, like we change absolutely nobody. Because sometimes, based on an opponent or a match, you do have to slightly tweak things. And if that means like one or two players, being changed around to benefit, I think that he should absolutely be doing that. It shouldn't be so black and white. And he does tend to do that sometimes, where he does stick with the winning team. And I think that it doesn't always work. The, it can't work for every scenario. It's just impossible. Um, and like Grace is saying, he has to realize he has to rotate, trust in the full squad. It's only it's only fun. uh, um, but we lose with Rashford in the starting 11 and still plays him next game. Yeah, the Rashford thing is a mystery. We've talked about it multiple times, and I don't know. I don't know if it's something in his contract. I don't know if he's literally Ten Hag's most favorite player that he's ever coached ever. I don't know what it is exactly. Um, but yeah, the Rashford thing, it just seems to be its own separate thing, and it's like it doesn't apply to anything else. Um, that he with his philosophy, but I don't know. Like Axe is saying, like Rashford forever. Like I don't know if Ten Hag has like a Rashford forever banner at his house, in his room or something, or it comes from the club. I have no clue. It is sort of a mystery. It does perplex me. My head hurts when I think about it because it's just so many contradicting things, but we'll go crazy trying to figure it out. We'll never know. We'll never know. So we kind of just have to go with it. Go with the flow, I guess. As of right now, and we can still hold our opinion on if he should be starting or not. But to try and dissect that and figure out why the hell that is actual thing, we'll never get the answer to it, and your head will probably explode. And it might make you want to cry as well because it just doesn't. It just doesn't. It was just a press answer, not to expose his tactics. Yeah, maybe. Bro, I'm looking forward to Ugarte. Looks like we got a player next to Kobe. Absolutely, I'm 100% hyped and excited for Ugarte. Really, really excited, and I that's why I want to get the ball rolling on Ugarte. I want him to get as many minutes as possible. I want him to start playing as much as possible. I hope he starts him tomorrow. If he doesn't start him tomorrow, I hope he gives him a good 40 minutes or something, because he is certainly the future for that midfield, going forward. And the faster we integrate the future, like I said about Ligt was brought in to play with Martinez and for them to start, not Harry Maguire. Even though I thought Harry Maguire has been doing very good, like lately, as of from last season, carrying on into this season. And while I do, kind of feel bad because he was playing good, and he's automatically going to lose his spot. We have to do what's best for the squad and the club, and that is De Ligt was bought to be the starter with Martinez. Ugarte was bought to be the starter of the squad. So the faster we could get that rolling and integrated and going and moving in that direction, the better for us. So yeah, it looked very good. That's what I mean. It was like 5-10 minutes. It wasn't a lot. He had a couple good things. There wasn't a lot going on, but he did do a couple good things there. So looked a little bit promising. Said my lineup: 2-3-5 position. Ugarte, Collier, Eriksson stay back and protect the center backs. Delo and Almas to overlap. Antony and Garnacho close to Xerxes. I think we'll just. I get what you're saying, Grace, and I know you love like the formations and the tactics, and you get very intricate into that. I think we'll just see normal formation and normal tactics from Erik ten Hag. He's not going to change nothing. But I was just going more with like, just the players that we're going to play, not so much the tactics. I think we're going to see the same tactics that we usually do. I don't think we're going to see anything different. I think the formation will be the same. I don't see, any of that. Almo thinks it's definitely in Rashford's contract. He has to play every game and unless injury. Well, I did speculate that, but that's obviously we're only speculating because we don't know for sure. But I think maybe because it was under Ed Woodward, Richard Arnold and the Glazers, when they gave him the contract, I wouldn't be surprised if they put something very stupid in his contract, like if he doesn't play a certain amount of minutes or he doesn't start a match or whatever, the club is probably giving him an extra ridiculous amount of hundreds of thousands. So that could be as well. And it could be a huge factor. So maybe, the instructions coming up from above Ten Hag is we need to get Marcus Rashford to be the best possible because this is going to be a giant waste of money. If we have a player on his wages, plus probably those extra money that he's getting from not playing, it's going to be, it's a negative outcome for the club. Best positive outcome, we play him, we're not paying him extra money for him not playing, plus at least maybe he can earn his wage while he's on the pitch, plus we could also maybe at least get him into really good form so that he's providing for the club, so it's not a total waste of money. Could be, but again, we'll never really get this answer. So Axe big Rashford fan. Rashford forever. Incredible potential. We'll never find out, but it's definitely what you said. It's in his contract. Could be. He's a Man United player. I back him. He puts on my club shirt and represents it. I want him to do well, and I think we all do. Yeah, that's at the end of the day, that's the thing. We want him to do well, and we want him to do, as good as possible, and we want to see him scoring goals and enjoying himself and performing, and and rival fans hating on him for the right reason, not the wrong reason. Listen, we don't know, Axe. We don't know. Could be. Because in Football Manager, there is a thing in the contract where it says like non-used sub fee, and I'm sure in the real world, the possibility to do anything, you can put any clause you want really into a contract. So there's a non-used sub fee, but what if they put in something like, if he doesn't play 60 minutes 60 minutes every match or whatever, you have to give him an extra 300,000 for each time you do that. Or what if they put in, if he doesn't start the match, he gets an extra 300 grand. They could have done it. I'm not saying they did, but they could have. It's a possibility because especially with those morons and those idiots that were in charge of the club, I wouldn't put it past them to put something in there like that or accept something like that. From an agent, because an agent could ask for something ridiculous like that, but only stupid people would agree to that terms, and we had stupid people in charge of our club, so it is a possibility. We don't know for sure. We'll never know, but it's a possibility. I wouldn't put it past them because they were very, very dumb people. Very, very dumb people. So you never know. You never know. If we had proper football people in there, I would probably dismiss it. But and Rashford's team was talking to PSG, so he could get more money from us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even Bruno's stories saying, yep, all that agrees. It was the worst centre back partnership on paper. Evan and Maguire doesn't fill anybody with confidence that much. But yeah, I know. But playing Barnsley, they should be able to handle it. Yeah, we're gonna end the stream, so it's time to go because I gotta eat dinner and we've gone on long enough. So very good show. Thank you everybody. We will be back live tomorrow, shortly after the match for the Red Devil recap. So please be back and join us. If you didn't smash the like button for me, smash the like button, greatly appreciated. And if you're a subscriber, turn on notifications if you don't have them, so you know when we go live, and you'll be ready for tomorrow. Thank you, Olmo. Thank you, Rajat. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Axe. Thank you, Liam, and thank you, Daniel. Thank you everybody for being here and making it a fantastic show. So very, very, very much appreciated, and we will see you all tomorrow and on the next one. 3-0 I'm going with. We're gonna win, and we'll see you later, and hopefully Coolest will join us too as well. I want his perspective after the match tomorrow as well, so hopefully he'll be back. So shout out to Coolest. Good luck to you, but not really, because you know, we need it and we want to win. So I'll see you guys later. Be good. Have a good night, evening, morning, wherever you watch it from. Thank you. Stay safe. Be